American Comics. The containment object is exposed at the beginning. Chapter 101. Just do it. Tony is not the kind of person who talks but doesn't take action. After making a decision, he will immediately carry out genetic modification. An hour later, Tony's whole body underwent astonishing changes. Although he looks like a human on the surface, a bunch of snow-white wings grow out of his back. The whole person is really flying in the air like an angel in biblical mythology. According to the data, this angel gene has strong self-healing ability. Even if it is shot by heavy weapons, it can regenerate as long as the important parts are not damaged. Barely close to immortality. The most important thing is that his own strength exceeds human limits. If Tony had such physical fitness back then, he would have been able to fight his way out of the Ten Rings gang's base even without relying on armor. After Tony tried flying and other habits at home, he couldn't help but fly outside to enjoy the night sky. Woohoo! Is this what it feels like to fly under your own power? It's completely different from when you're wearing a suit. Tony's face was full of surprise, like a child who got a new toy. Sir, I suggest you don't fly too far, as you may be photographed. At this time Jarvis reminded. Don't worry, Jarvis. I'm very smart and won't be discovered. What's more, no one will believe me if I tell you this. Tony didn't care at all. With his pushy personality, it didn't matter if people all over the world knew that he was an angel. After Tony was satisfied in the night sky center, he returned to the villa. Hey, Tony. At this time, Pepper had already come in and was about to report something to Tony with a smile on his face. But when she saw Tony falling from the sky, she was stunned for a moment. When did this man become an angel? Tony. You are an angel. How is that possible? Pepper looked shocked and couldn't believe the facts in front of her. This lustful man, who has ignored the company for a long time and has not edited the page, can actually be an angel. This is simply destroying the illusion. At this moment, little Pepper felt that her worldview collapsed. Tony felt a headache instantly when he saw Pepper's appearance. How should he explain it now? DC Universe, Gotham City at night. Ever since a large number of lunatics escaped from Arkham Asylum, Gotham City has once again fallen into chaos. As long as night comes, various crimes will occur in the streets and alleys. The police have their hands full, so one man takes action. On the roof of the Gotham Police Department, Gordon turned on the bat searchlight and projected it into the sky, hoping to call Batman out. What's up? The next second, Batman's voice came. I saw that Batman had transformed into Kamen Rider Knight Rider and appeared at the edge of the building. They said you changed your equipment, which seems to be true. Are you now wearing a medieval knight style? Gordon looked at Batman's knight riding outfit and had to ask curiously. So be it. Batman casually took a perfunctory look at the street. It was safe for now. After that group of lunatics ran out, the crime rate increased again. The people above are very tight. We can deal with most criminals, but the likes of clowns and double-faced people need your help. Gordon said with a serious face what the current problem was. Super criminals are no match for the police. Are you talking about them? At this time, Batman said this. Then in the dark night sky, dark-winged bats descended from the sky. Gordon was so frightened that he subconsciously took out his pistol. Then the dark-winged bat swung its body and actually threw some tied-up and unconscious criminals from its back on the ground. Among them are the famous Two-Face and Poison Ivy. They leave it to you. Batman said. Seeing this, Gordon looked at the dark-winged bat high up and had to complain. You really started raising bats. How did you raise them so big? Batman is already used to this question. Basically anyone who meets him will ask this question. Seeing that Batman didn't answer, Gordon dragged the body bag that had been placed nearby. You should see this. After Gordon finished speaking, he opened the zipper, and the corpse inside turned out to be the mimicking beast. This monster appears out of nowhere. It can imitate sounds and has amazing power. Many people have been eaten and it seems to have reproduced a lot. God knows how many such monsters there are in Gotham City. I wanted to announce it, but the superiors blocked all the information and asked us to handle it secretly. But how is this possible? Now the residents of Gotham City are living next to monsters. Gordon looked anxious. Although he was the director, he couldn't do many things. The beast of mimicry. Batman spoke calmly. Gordon next to him looked confused. The name I gave you, I have already fought against these monsters, they are very difficult to deal with. Batman replied as he examined the mimic beast. He couldn't help but blame himself now. Why didn't he check more carefully at that time? Now that it's better, he lets them go. I don't know which corner has a large group of them. I don't know where it is distributed. Bringing more trouble to Gotham. Therefore, Batman vowed to do everything possible to eliminate the threat of the Sound Beast. Tell your men to protect themselves, don't be fooled when they hear the voices of familiar people, and use heavy weapons. After Batman finished speaking, he immediately jumped up, stood on the back of the Darkwing Bat, and flew directly into the night sky to leave here. Gordon was left staring blankly at the sky, confused. After a busy night, Batman enters the Batcave through the mirror. Sir, I think you can stop being a human being. Alfred looked at the young master coming out of the mirror and sighed helplessly. Bruce Wayne is becoming less and less normal now, which worries him. Alfred, the world is starting to become abnormal, and I can only change accordingly. Bruce Wayne said helplessly after releasing his transformation. Beep. At this time, the Darkwing Bat also flew out and was screaming non-stop. Okay, Master Darkwing Bat, your food is over there. Alfred pointed to an open space not far away, where there were more than a dozen tied live pigs. Seeing this, the Darkwing Bat immediately flew over to feast. Isn't it full outside? Alfred didn't want to see such a bloody scene, so he asked. Less than 10 sound-imitating beasts were found today. I don't know whether they were all killed or hidden. Anyway, we can't be careless. After Batman finished speaking, he controlled the computer and looked at the satellite thermal imaging map of Gotham City on the screen. He spent a lot of money to find the sound-mimicking beast, but those creatures only show heat when they are active, and are in a cold-blooded state the rest of the time, so it is difficult to find them through thermal imaging. Bruce Wayne's ability to find those monsters basically relies on victim rumors. By the way, Lucius told me that to imitate your knight riding armor, it would cost half of the Wayne Group's property. Nanotechnology, the refining of new alloys, and fabric issues are all beyond the current technological level of mankind. As for inserting cards, it can only be used for playing cards. Alfred Way reports. Ever since Bruce Wayne got the knight riding break, he asked Lucius to imitate it. According to the technology and funds of Wayne Group, it is naturally no problem to produce a set of powerful exoskeleton power armor. But that's not the case with knight riding equipment. Just why the fabric is so hard, where the energy supply comes from, the function of the call machine, the belt to hide the armor, etc. are all completely incredible technologies. Lucius swore he had never seen this thing before, and even Alfred didn't understand how Bruce Wayne got it. But no matter how he asked, Bruce Wayne wouldn't say anything, just all kinds of prevarication. It's not easy for Alfred to ask questions. Imitate it as much as possible. It doesn't matter if the function is slightly different. Wayne also knew that this matter was difficult, but he could not give up as the threats would become greater and greater in the future. What if more group monsters like the Sound Beast appear all over the world? And he remembered that Diana said that there are many people with superpowers in this world. What if there are criminals with superpowers? Therefore, mass production of knight riding equipment is a must. Speaking of Diana, Wonder Woman. Since Bruce Wayne met Diana, he mobilized the computer to enter the name, photos, and search for relevant information. During this time, he had been letting the computer search for these two keywords and found a lot of information. After sorting it out one after another, he discovered something strange. That's when Diana appeared in photos from the Second World War. If Diana lived during World War II, she would be very old now. Sure enough, this woman has a lot of mysteries. Actually, you don't need to search like this. You should know where she works. You can visit her for any reason, or even ask her out to meet. Alfred immediately urged Bruce Wayne to take action and seize every opportunity to rush the marriage. Alfred, she may be an old monster who has lived for hundreds of years. Bruce Wayne complained helplessly. I don't mind if you get along with an old lady, it's better than being alone. Now you have to fight criminals and destroy monsters. I'm really worried that one day you will become less human. Alfred's words were filled with strong concern. No matter what, all he cared about was Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne sighed heavily. He understood Alfred's feelings, but he couldn't stop at this time. Alfred didn't say much when he saw this. I have something to do above, so I'll leave first. When Alfred finished speaking and was about to leave, he looked at the Darkwing Bat, which seemed to be full and made a satisfied sound. Fortunately, you started to have a pet, at least you are not alone, although this pet is very scary. After Alfred left these words, he left here. Bruce Wayne shrugged helplessly. If you are full, go back to the mirror world and rest. Remember to patrol for me when you see me. Bruce Wayne shouted to Darkwing Bat. He has currently reached an agreement with Darkwing Bat. Darkwing Bat will help him patrol the entire Gotham City every once in a while and investigate the situation in the real world through the mirror world. For this purpose, he was specially equipped with a high-definition camera with extremely long battery life. Not to mention that with such a helper, Bruce Wayne's work in fighting criminals went much more smoothly. No, change the plan. Then Bruce Wayne suddenly changed his mind. You are in the mirror world and help me monitor Diana. After Bruce Wayne finished speaking, he called up Diana's address and workplace and fell into thinking for a while. One Piece World. Garp and Aokiji have long returned to the Navy headquarters. When he learned that the Straw Hat Gang's bounty had been increased and that Akainu and Kizaru went to the Shampoo Islands to ambush, Garp instantly became furious. Later, Sengoku explained in detail the matter of the containment and the current threat from the Straw Hats. Only then did he manage to comfort Garp. Garp, please understand. Now that the Straw Hats have come into contact with the secrets of the world government, they have become even more powerful. They are a huge threat and must be dealt with no matter what. Warring States said with a gloomy look. Although Garp is unwilling to do so, as a Navy, he must make his position clear. Don't let Luffy die, this is my final bottom line. Garp turned around and his voice was quite cold. After hearing this, Warring States couldn't help but shed a ray of cold sweat and nodded. So, what's going on with that so-called containment object and barrier? Is it because of it that my ability suddenly improved? Qingzi, who had been silent until now, changed the subject and looked at his body. Today, he is even colder than before. As long as you are close to him, you can feel the extremely strong cold air. Yes, your absolute zero and Garp's cow charm all come from that mysterious screen, but it's a pity that you can't see it. Sengoku replied. Speaking of which, with such power, you should be able to destroy the four emperors, right? Zheng Guo's eyes lit up as he thought of this. That's not easy to say. They are not fools and will not let me do whatever I want. Moreover, if there is a fight, I cannot go to the meeting alone. If I take others there, there will be heavy casualties. Aoki said with a shrug. He couldn't take that risk. Nakapu. Sengoku looked at Garp. But Garp turned around before and crossed his arms as if sulking. Is this guy a child? Seeing Garp like this, Sengguo complained helplessly. Then he called Akainu's phone number to inquire about the situation. Hey, Akainu, Kizaru, have you arrived at the Shampoo Islands now? Sengoku asked. It's already here, but the Straw Hats haven't arrived yet. They may have to wait a few days before they arrive. Akainu reports. Then continue to wait and be careful not to be discovered. When Warring States said this, he paused and then said, by the way, be careful on that island, Pluto Rayleigh is also there. Warring States reminded. The two admirals on the other end of the phone showed solemn expressions after hearing this title. Then a sailor walked in. Report, Lord Vegapunk has arrived. When Warring States heard the name, he immediately went to greet it. The various high technologies that appeared on the screen made him realize the importance of technology in the military. The threats will become bigger and bigger in the future, and it may be difficult to fight against them with only the original strength, so he has to keep up with the times. Dragon Ball Universe. Vegeta and Nappa have descended on Earth. Different from the original plot, as soon as they arrived on Earth, they used their own power to create a small moon and directly transformed into a giant ape. Carrying out brutal attacks. Any building they saw was completely destroyed. Piccolo and others noticed the Saiyan invasion and immediately went to fight. With their current strength, they had a huge chance of killing Vegeta and Nappa. However, the Saiyan's combat power will increase tenfold after transforming into a giant ape. Therefore, the battle has just begun, and Piccolo and the others are at a disadvantage. Now they are all lying on the ground with serious injuries, unable to move at all. This is too strong, it's not easy to become strong. Clint looked at the giant ape in front of him with a look of reluctance. There was no way to fight back. The power of the Saiyans is so terrifying that no matter how they attack, they can't have any effect. Even if you want to attack the tail, you can be guarded against it. It's really disappointing to try your best to end up with no fighting ability. Hey, Namekian, answer me quickly, where are the Dragon Balls? Vegeta asked, grabbing Piccolo. Now Piccolo is also seriously injured and unable to fight anymore, and is like a toy in the hands of the giant ape Vegeta. I won't tell you, you'll kill me if you dare. Piccolo sneered. His eyes were filled with strong unwillingness. He could feel that his body had unimaginable potential, but the Saiyan attack left him no time to practice. Otherwise, he was absolutely confident that once his potential was unleashed, he would definitely be able to defeat Vegeta. If you give me just one more day. Piccolo felt very reluctant, but now it was useless to say anything. Haha, do you think I can't find the Dragon Ball if I die? I can find it even if I turn the earth upside down, and I can torture you in 1,000 ways, destroy your spirit, and make you tell me the whereabouts of the Dragon Ball. Quote. After Vegeta finished speaking, he gradually increased the strength of his hand. Ah! This made Piccolo scream in extreme pain. It now felt like all the bones in its body were screaming and seemed to be cracking bit by bit. Vegeta did this deliberately to let Piccolo slowly feel the pain of his body gradually shattering. It's very interesting to see Piccolo look miserable. If you don't want to suffer, tell me where the Dragon Ball is quickly, otherwise not only you, but your companions will be killed by us. Vegeta said while looking at Krillin and others lying on the ground. Haha, I'm not familiar with them. I can kill them if I want. Piccolo sneered twice, he really didn't care about the life or death of those people on Earth. Haha, is that so? What if it's this kid? After Vegeta finished speaking, he picked up Son Gohan who was covered in injuries. When Piccolo saw Sun Wuhan, his eyes had to change. This kid seems to have a good relationship with you. He was trying to find ways to help you when we were fighting before. You also care about him a little, don't you think I can't tell? When Vegeta said this, a smirk appeared on his face. Then he specially clamped Sun Wuhan's head with his fingers, and then gradually increased the force. Woo 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 woo. Sun Wuhan immediately felt the pain as if his brain was about to break, and he kept screaming. Piccolo, who originally had a cold-blooded expression on his face, changed his eyes slightly after seeing Son Gohan scream, but he still closed his eyes forcefully and pretended not to see. But as soon as he heard Sun Wuhan's screams, he would have such a scene. Why, can you really bear to watch this kid die? Giant Ape Vegeta had a wicked smile on his face and gradually increased the strength on his hands. This made Sun Wuhan's screams get louder and louder. Gohan. Piccolo couldn't bear to see that he couldn't do this, and his heart suddenly became very complicated. He didn't understand why he was so worried about Sun Wuhan's life and death. He was obviously just a tool to him. Uncle Piccolo, never say anything. Don't let them know the whereabouts of the Dragon Balls. At this time, Son Gohan endured the pain and shouted, he didn't care how painful he was now, even if he sacrificed himself, he couldn't let the Saiyans know where the Dragon Balls were. You brat, you have a lot of backbone. I want to see how long you can hold on. After Vegeta finished speaking, he gradually increased his strength, trying to crush Son Gohan's head. Gohan. Piccolo was touched by his apprentice's determination. He really didn't want to tell the enemy the whereabouts of the Dragon Balls, but he didn't want to watch Son Gohan die. The entanglement in his heart made him extremely painful, and he didn't know how to deal with it for a while. Sun Wukong, where are you? Why don't you come quickly? At this moment, Piccolo wanted to shout to Sun Wukong in the sky, hoping that he would appear quickly and save his son. Let me go, Gohan. At this moment, a roar sounded from the sky, and a meteor fell from the sky. After hearing this sound, everyone raised their heads and looked at the meteors in the sky. The person in that meteor is Sun Wukong. Triple Kaio Fist. Sun Wukong immediately used the Triple Kaio Fist, increased his speed, and turned into a red flame, falling in front of Vegeta like a meteorite. Quickly fire a beam attack towards Vegeta's eyes. Ah! Vegeta was hit in one eye and screamed in pain. Subconsciously, he raised his hands to cover his eyes, thus letting go of Son Gohan and Piccolo. Seeing this, Sun Wukong immediately went to catch them both. Are you okay? Sun Wukong said quickly. I can't die. You're finally here. It's too late. Piccolo coughed twice and said. Sorry, I'm late. I'll deal with them right away. Son Goku put down Piccolo and Son Gohan and waited for Vegeta and Nappa, who had transformed into giant apes. Are you two Saiyans? You actually came to invade the Earth. I will never forgive you. When Sun Wukong said this, he exuded a strong aura. Oops. Kakarot actually appeared, he was really resurrected. Vegeta looked at Sun Wukong in shock, but he didn't expect to meet him. Tisk, what is a mere low-level soldier doing so arrogantly? At this time, Nappa suddenly yelled and looked at Sun Wukong with disdain. Then it picked up the detector with its big hand and looked at Sun Wukong. What? The combat power is as high as 12,000. How is this possible? He is obviously a low-level warrior. Nappa was extremely shocked by this. As a warrior from a well-known family, he had worked hard for so many years, but he still had not broken through the combat power of 10,000. Why can a mere lower-level warrior surpass himself? Asshole. This made Nappa extremely unwilling, and he immediately spit out the light cannon and attacked. So what if my combat power is 12,000, but now that I have transformed into a giant ape, my combat power reaches tens of thousands? You will not be my opponent. Nappa was shouting in his heart that he must quickly destroy Sun Wukong, lest he also transform into a giant ape. Sun Wukong showed no fear at all when faced with a light cannon that was much more terrifying than his own. Instead, he took a deep breath and shouted. Ha! The next second, an extremely powerful golden aura erupted from Sun Wukong's whole body, making his whole body look like golden flames. It was this powerful aura that directly blocked Nappa's cannon. What? His move was blocked by the air pressure, causing Nappa to scream in shock. It's unforgivable to hurt everyone like this. Sun Wukong's voice was so loud that it resounded through the sky. The energy bursting out from all over his body became more and more terrifying. At this moment, the sky was covered with dark clouds, lightning and thunder, and under the reflection of the thunder, his hair instantly turned golden. The whole body is wrapped with golden flames like flames. DDDDD. In this one, Nappa's combat power detector kept making sounds to calculate the combat power, and then exploded directly because Sun Wukong was too powerful. How is it possible? The last number that appeared just now is actually more than 500,000. Is he stronger than Lord Frieza? Nappa screamed in shock, unable to accept this fact. What kind of gesture is this? Is this still a Saiyan? Nappa's voice became more and more anxious. Even without a detector, he could feel Sun Wukong's terrifying pressure, constantly pressing towards him. It forced him to keep retreating and panting, as if there was a particularly terrifying demon in front of him. This is Super Saiyan. Vegeta understood what was going on and screamed in disbelief. What? Super Saiyan? Vegeta, what are you talking about? After Nappa heard this legendary name, he shouted to Vegeta in shock. He really couldn't believe it. What is the connection between a mere low-level warrior and the legendary Super Saiyan? Turtle Faction. At this time, Sun Wukong has begun to prepare to use the turtle-style Qigong wave to destroy Nappa and Vegeta. With his power after transforming into a Super Saiyan, it will undoubtedly be easy to destroy these two people. After Nappa felt the terrifying energy fluctuations, he took 2 steps back in fear, not knowing what to do. Vegeta, we have to leave quickly. Although it was embarrassing, Nappa knew very well that now they had no other choice but to run. However, just as Nappa finished speaking, Vegeta suddenly raised his hand and put it on Nappa's shoulder. This made Nappa turn his head in confusion. Qigong Wave. At this time, Sun Wukong has launched a particularly large turtle-style Qigong Wave, which is enough to destroy Vegeta and Nappa in one breath. At this moment, Vegeta suddenly pushed Nappa forward, and then quickly pulled out his tail with his other hand, shrinking his body immediately. Vegeta! You fool! Nappa didn't know what Vegeta meant, so he roared angrily. But it's useless for him to be angry now. He could only watch helplessly as he got closer and closer to the turtle Qigong wave, and then was covered all over his body. The next second, Naba's screams rang out, and his whole body was continuously shattered by the waves of turtle-style qigong. When the qigong wave disappeared, Naba's body could no longer be seen. That guy actually used his companions as a shield. Sun Wukong screamed in surprise when he saw this. He clearly felt Vegeta running away, but his aura became so weak that he was unable to detect the specific location. Although he really wanted to pursue them, what he had to consider now was the situation of his companions. Now everyone was seriously injured and needed to be treated quickly. Everyone, hold on, I'll take you to the hospital right away. Sun Wukong quickly helped everyone to go to the hospital. Idiot, you should kill that guy. Piccolo instead urges Goku to destroy Vegeta. Don't worry, I can deal with that guy later. No one can defeat me now. After Monkey King finished speaking, he carried everyone to the hospital. At this time, Vegeta was lying in the woods in a miserable state. Although he dodged the frontal attack of the turtle qigong wave in time. But he was still involved in the aftermath, causing serious injuries all over his body. The only good thing is that he was blown away and fell far away from Sun Wukong. The space capsule is over there, and I'm afraid it will be destroyed too. I can't leave the Earth now. Vegeta analyzed the current situation with a painful look on his face. He now felt that he was particularly uncomfortable just thinking about it. Kakarot, don't think that you are invincible by becoming a Super Saiyan. Since you can do it, I can do it too. Vegeta stood up slowly, filled with immense anger and fighting spirit. He would not fall because of this, he would become stronger. He believes that he will become a Super Saiyan, and then seek revenge on Sun Wukong. With this thought in mind, Vegeta slowly left here to find a place to recuperate and regain strength. Naruto World. Night, Konoha Ninja Village. Now that it is evening, the number of pedestrians on the road has not decreased, and many people take advantage of this time to go out and play. However, in such a harmonious situation, no one thought that something terrible was happening. Hoo ho ho. In a certain store, a large amount of purple smoke suddenly appeared, covering the entire store in an instant. Hey! What's going on? Is it on fire? This scared the guests and ran out one after another, not understanding what was happening. Cough cough cough. People who were caught in the thick smoke fell to the ground in pain and kept coughing. Some people even coughed up blood. Hey, are you okay? A passerby hurried over to ask about the situation. But the next second, something incredibly terrifying appeared for everyone. As soon as the man raised his head, he revealed a very terrifying face. The facial features have become shapeless, and the skin is constantly rotting, exposing bones and fallen flesh. It does not look like a human being at all. Ah! The man pounced directly on the passerby, biting his neck crazily. At this moment, the originally harmonious commercial street began to hear violent screams. At this time in the Hokage building, Tsunade was dealing with various documents. In the nearby villages, people keep disappearing. Even the entire village is missing, and bodies are found. What's going on? Seeing so many reports, she felt quite strange. In the next second, Tsunade's haki suddenly sensed something terrible. Then he immediately went to the window and looked outside, only to see a world of purgatory. Help! Ah! Konoha, which was originally peaceful, didn't know why the streets and alleys were filled with endless screams. The residents were chased by a group of monsters whose bodies were rotting like corpses. Some of these monsters moved very quickly, knocking down some residents in one fell swoop, and kept biting them, treating them as food. The appearance of the monsters immediately caused Konoha's ninjas to launch a counterattack. However, these are zombies, and ordinary attacks cannot work. Moreover, they seem to still retain their former wisdom and chakra. Even if they become zombies, they can still use ninjutsu subconsciously. Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. Several Chunin used the fireball technique to try to destroy these zombies. However, some zombies also made seals in the same way, spit out large amounts of water, and used water escape to extinguish the fire. What? Seeing that these monsters could actually use ninjutsu, these Chunin had to be shocked. As a result, before they could react, they were immediately thrown to the ground by a group of zombies. Konoha Tornado. Shell Li used a roundhouse kick to knock away a zombie, saved a civilian, and asked him to leave quickly. What kind of monsters are these? Their bodies are broken in half and they can still move. Tiantian looked in disbelief at a zombie that only had its upper body left but was still crawling forward, and couldn't help but step back in fear. These monsters don't have any life response, as if they are already dead. Neji observed the zombies around him through his Byakugan, unable to see the flow of chakra and life breath. It was beyond his knowledge that the corpse could move, attack, and even use ninjutsu. In this way, the soft fist attack that Neji is proud of will have no effect at all. How are you going to kill me? Xiaoli shouted anxiously as he knocked away the approaching zombies. No matter how hard he tried, knocking them away or breaking their bodies, he couldn't kill these zombies. Let Xiaoli feel anxious all of a sudden. Do not panic. At this moment, Metkai's voice sounded, and he fell from the sky like a meteor and plunged into the pile of zombies. Konoha's great whirlwind. Metkai's kick was like a tornado, sweeping over and blowing away many zombies, causing their bones to break, making them unable to move even if they were still alive. No matter what kind of monster it is, as long as it still has the characteristics of a living thing, it can be defeated. If it can't be killed, break its bones so that they can never move again. Metkai raised his thumb and pointed it at Xiaoli and the others. Even in this environment full of monsters, his blood was still boiling. This immediately inspired Xiaoli and his group, who were originally fearful. PFF'd. At this moment, some zombies' muscles suddenly exploded, bursting out a lot of blood. Get their attention. I saw those zombies, whose bones were obviously broken by Metkai, but they still stood up, and their whole bodies changed. The body became extremely red, the ribs pierced the body, and foul-smelling liquid continued to flow from the wound. This is a stage where zombies evolve by chance. Blood-charged zombies have more attack power and speed than ordinary zombies. These blood-charged zombies let out extremely angry roars and pounced on Metkai at an alarming speed. This forced Metkai to immediately retreat and dodge. But in the next second, the blood-charged zombie used some slow but sharp physical skills, claws, and flying kicks to attack Metkai. Let Metkai retreat again and again. This is Konoha's taijutsu. Are you transformed into Konoha ninjas? Metkai looked at the blood-congested zombies in front of him in disbelief. His brain was unable to react, causing his body to move a beat slower. About to be caught by the claws of a blood-charged zombie. Careful. Just then Shizun's voice came. Shizun turned into several afterimages, and she didn't know when she came to Metkai's side. Then he quickly punched and kicked, and each attack directly exploded these blood-charged zombies into countless pieces of flesh. This sudden change made Metkai stunned for a moment. Are you okay? Shizun asked immediately. The situation is very urgent now. Because of the strange smoke, many people have turned into these lifeless monsters. These monsters have amazing vitality. They cannot be killed without blowing their heads off or destroying their entire bodies. While Shizun said this, she suddenly pulled up the street lamp next to her and threw it in the direction of the ninja who was being attacked by a group of zombies and unable to resist not far away. He pierced the heads of several zombies in one breath and helped them break out. If you understand the situation, first find a way to eliminate these monsters and rescue people, and be careful to protect your mouth and nose from inhaling strange gases. After Shizun finished speaking, she immediately ran somewhere else to support everyone as much as possible. Metkai looked at Shizun's back with some confusion and murmured, "This little girl's physical skills are so powerful, good. I can't lose either." As a master of physical arts, Metkai shouted excitedly after being encouraged by Shizun, and then led Xiaoli and 3 others to support the others. So strong, is this the power of Yatu? Shizun looked at her body. She now felt that her whole body was full of powerful power. Even without chakra, she could fight against Jonin. So hot. I don't know why Shizun feels her blood boiling all over her body now. There are obviously horrific and bloody phenomena everywhere, but she can't help but yearn for the blood of fighting. This is the side effect of the night rabbit. It is easy to be swallowed up by the will to fight, but under the purification of the screen, without this side effect, it can still maintain its blood. Bang 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 bang. At this time, several residential buildings not far away suddenly collapsed, and a huge thing rose from the ground. The behemoth was quite fat and could blow up the building next to it with just a wave of his hand. And there was more than one behemoth, and then several more appeared. A giant zombie monster suddenly appeared, catching everyone off guard. Hey! Those are some of my uncles. After Akamichi Choji saw these giants, he barely recognized their identities through their rotten faces, and had to look stunned. My uncle is like this too, what about my father? This made Dinky have to think of something terrible, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. Choji, be careful. At this time, Asuma ran to Choji and saved him by cutting off the falling rocks with his swords. Don't be distracted. If you feel uncomfortable, don't look at it. We will take care of it. Asuma reassured Choji. Choji nodded with tears in his eyes. Now several giant zombies are destroying everywhere, making the situation more difficult, and the number of casualties has increased a lot in an instant. If this continues, Konoha will be doomed. Kakashi stood on the roof of a tall building and began to prepare Chidori in his hands. Just go through the head. Kakashi looked at the giant zombies in front of him. The thunder and lightning in his hand kept beating, releasing a sound like the chirping of thousands of birds. Just when Kakashi was ready to rush out, there was a zombie on the ground that actually evolved. Its throat expanded rapidly, causing its body to become even larger. When its throat expands to a certain extent, it suddenly opens its mouth and howls, and the airflow in its throat bursts out. The terrifying sound waves spread all around and spread to a long distance in an instant. Anyone who heard such a piercing roar was suddenly in a trance, stopped moving, felt severe pain in their ears, and quickly covered their ears. This zombie is the Screamer, which can emit terrifying sound waves at any time to attack and attract more zombies. People who were close to it had their heads exploded or died of cerebral hemorrhage. Even though the remaining people are beautiful, they are immediately surrounded by a large group of zombies attracted and are in danger. Why did a new monster appear? Kakashi covered his head with one hand and shook his head with a distressed look on his face, his steps a little sloppy. He looked forward with difficulty, preparing to use the Chidori. But at this time, two huge zombies had already seen him, and they had already raised their hands and dropped towards him. Seeing this scene, Kakashi's eyes widened. If he was hit, he would definitely die. At this critical moment, a figure passed over these two giant zombies, and then their heads exploded at the same time. The huge zombie that had lost its head shrank rapidly. Seeing this scene, Kakashi was stunned for a moment. Then he saw more and more huge zombie heads exploding, and it looked like they were directly smashed. He quickly concentrated on observing, and saw that it was Tsunade who was quickly flying back and forth among these giant zombies to attack. Tsunade concentrated her armed haki on her right arm while condensing chakra. The two forces combined to create a destructive power that is far more terrifying than before. Boom! No giant zombie can withstand one punch, and their heads will be blown open. Everyone cheer up, destroy all the monsters, and protect our village. After standing on the roof, Tsunade shouted to every ninja who was struggling on the ground. The voice is loud and powerful. All the ninjas were excited after hearing this. They had seen how powerful Tsunade was, and she could easily kill such a terrifying monster. With such a leader, what could be more inspiring than this? This made many ninjas who were originally dominated by despair and fear muster up the courage to continue fighting. Tsunade-sama. At this time, Shizune jumped over. She was now covered in the blood of zombies. It seemed that she had killed a lot of zombies. I have a general understanding of the situation. How are the casualties so far? Tsunade asked. It's very bad. This group of monsters appeared too suddenly, and they didn't know the information about attacking the head. They killed many ninjas, and there are also many monsters that were turned into ninjas. After Shizune finished speaking, she looked not far away. This group of monsters will mutate when they eat a certain amount, and some monsters will have their heads mutated, and their bodies will mutate, becoming even weirder monsters. There is too little information, and I have no idea where this comes from. Shizune said solemnly. Anyway, we just need to destroy all the monsters. After Tsunade finished speaking, she looked at the sky. Jiraiya is not here at this time. He said he lost track of Orochimaru's whereabouts. Where did he go? After Tsunade thought this in her mind, she concentrated on dealing with the monster. These monsters don't have much sense, and it's no longer enough to scare them with their domineering aura. We can only rely on fists to deal with them one after another. While such chaos was unfolding in Konoha, a group of people were watching in the woods outside the village. The leader among them is Orochimaru. The people around him were all monsters with several eyes on their faces. Well, Konoha is in a particularly chaotic situation right now. I don't know how Tsunade should handle it. Orochimaru said with a smirk. But this sea virus is really powerful. It is diluted into a gas and has strong infectivity as long as it is inhaled. Although the infected zombies cannot listen to me, it is enough to cause chaos. Orochimaru commented. And the monsters evolved from zombies are also very interesting. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he looked outside the bushes. I saw a large group of zombies walking towards Konoha Ninja Village there, including many evolved types of zombies. Bloodshot zombies, screamers, fat zombies, lickers, etc. So many zombies were created by Orochimaru using nearby villages for experiments. Now he found a way to get them here and use them as weapons to attack Konoha. So Tsunade, what should you do when you see the gifts I prepared for you? Orochimaru said with a smirk. Lord Orochimaru, I have to congratulate you, Konoha will definitely perish tonight. Kabuto on the side said this. That's not necessarily the case. Orochimaru was not completely sure, and then looked at the four people around him. Sakin, Jirobo, Kidomaru, Tayumi, you should immediately lead Javo into the Konoha Ninja Village to fight. Pay attention to collecting combat data and recovering the bodies of powerful zombies. Orochimaru ordered. Yes. After the four sound ninjas received the order, they immediately led the controllable Javo mutated by the sea virus injection to the Konoha Ninja Village. And Orochimaru also disappeared. There are more zombies approaching outside. Come to the door for reinforcements. Other enemies took the opportunity to attack. The ninja who noticed the situation outside the village shouted anxiously. I saw a large group of zombies outside, pouring into the Konoha Ninja Village like locusts entering the village. Making the situation even worse. Who are you? Yuhi Kurenai fought against several Javos wearing shabby ninja uniforms, and it was the first time she saw such monsters with eyes all over their faces. However, these Javos would not answer her and immediately launched a fierce attack. They were different from ordinary zombies and had higher intelligence. The power of using ninjutsu is more powerful than when you are a human. Forced Yuhi Hong could only defend passively. In the end, Yuhi Hong successfully found the flaw, cut off the heads of these Javos one after another, and killed them. Are these the same as those monsters? Yuhi Hong looked at these headless corpses in confusion, and then turned to support the others. But at this moment, the Javos who had lost their heads slowly stood up, and then all kinds of weird things grew out of the broken necks. Some of these Javos that have lost their heads have grown upper bodies like locusts, and some have grown something like the tail of a bee. After the new heads appeared, they launched a new offensive towards Yuhi Kurenai. What kind of monster is this? Yuhi Hong had never seen such a monster before. She was so frightened that she quickly backed away and distanced herself. Not just her, other ninjas also encountered the same situation. Those Javo monsters, which are different from zombies, have amazing regeneration capabilities. When the hand is broken, something like a sickle, shield or tentacle grows. When the legs are abolished, they become wings, or spider legs or grasshopper legs. Some may even suddenly emit large amounts of mucus, turning their entire bodies into pupae. Then a monster even more terrifying than before emerged from the inside of the pupa. Such a changeable and more dangerous monster is undoubtedly particularly capable of destroying the minds of others. Some genin and even chunin were so frightened that they could no longer fight. Making the situation even more confusing. The number of casualties is constantly increasing. How could this happen? Where did this monster come from? After Tsunade killed some monsters, she looked around in shock. Through seeing and hearing Seihaki, she keenly sensed that many life reactions were disappearing rapidly. This made her very anxious. Are you anxious, Tsunade? Just then a voice came. Tsunade turned around immediately after hearing this, only to see Orochimaru appear in front of her. Orochimaru. This is your fault. Tsunade shouted in shock. Yes, remember the sea virus I got. All of this is the product of that thing. It can not only transform life into a terrifying biological weapon, but also bring about a new evolution. After Orochimaru finished speaking, He flicked his right hand, and his arm exploded instantly, turning into countless venomous snakes that seemed to be made of flesh and blood. Look, this is my brand new posture. I no longer belong to humans, but I can still retain my human appearance. There is no more perfect evolution than this. I am much stronger now than before. Orochimaru looked excited, immersed in the surge in strength. Go to hell. At this moment, Tsunade rushed in front of Orochimaru with a roar. Her entire arm was covered with armed haki, and huge chakra was compressed in it. I saw Tsunade's fist bombarding Orochimaru's body like a cannonball. The pile of venomous snakes didn't even touch Tsunade's fist, and were directly crushed into pieces by the terrifying fist wind. Stop talking nonsense to me. Tsunade's face was filled with rage, and she was surrounded by a domineering aura that made her look like a devil who had just crawled out of hell. It's just turning yourself into a monster. Talking about evolution, I think you are mentally ill. After Tsunade finished speaking, she stamped on the ground suddenly, causing countless cracks to spread toward Orochimaru. Orochimaru immediately told him to move aside to avoid the terrible impact. But the next second, Tsunade seemed to have anticipated his movements and came to his side in advance. Look at me. Tsunade directly greeted him with a punch, punched Orochimaru in the chest, and knocked him away a long distance. It won't stop until it collapses an empty house. I don't care whether you evolve or not. In short, you are the enemy now. It's your fault that the village is like this. Tsunade had an angry look on her face, and she couldn't suppress the fire in her eyes. As the 5th generation Hokage, I must eliminate you. Ha ha ha. As expected of Tsunade, she is so powerful, and you also have new powers. Is that domineering? Orochimaru emerged from the rubble, and Tsunade made a huge hole in his body. If it were ordinary people, they would have died long ago. Only Orochimaru could stay alive by relying on the terrifying vitality of the sea virus. What an amazing vitality. Tsunade's eyes changed when she saw such terrifying vitality. Even her top medical ninjutsu couldn't compare to such vitality. Now is not the time to fight with him. Tsunade looked around at the situation and saw that the casualties were quite heavy, which made her want to summon slugs quickly and use medical ninjutsu to support everyone. Do you want to save people? It suits your character very well, but I won't let you go smoothly. As Orochimaru spoke, a strange purple gas emitted from his whole body. Call. Orochimaru exhaled a puff of purple energy, flying out like a cannonball and hitting a ninja who was killing zombies. Ooh. The next second, the ninja showed a particularly painful expression, veins popped out all over his body, and then his body began to mutate and turned into a zombie. See, this is one of my powers. My whole body can continuously emit sea virus gas. As long as I inhale this gas, I will turn into these monsters. Ah, I call them zombies. When Orochimaru said this, he showed a rather cold smile, which made people feel particularly uncomfortable. You can leave me alone and save people, but I will continue to release gas and infect everyone in Konoha. Now that Jiraiya is not here and you ignore me, who can stop me? As soon as Orochimaru finished speaking, Tsunade immediately rushed in front of him, gathering all her strength to lower her fist. Boom. This punch is like a missile exploding. It produces extremely terrifying destructive power, lifting the ground around it. When the dust settled, Tsunade's fist clung to the ground, and then she immediately looked not far away. I saw a ball of milky white liquid pouring out from the gap somewhere, and then condensed into a human form, revealing Orochimaru's appearance again. It seems you have made a decision, so try to stop me. After Orochimaru finished speaking, smoke erupted from his body. When the smoke cleared, Orochimaru was nowhere to be found. Tsunade cursed with a dark look on her face, then looked around, looking for Orochimaru with her haki. Now she can only put aside the idea of large-scale healing. Get rid of Orochimaru first. In a building, Danzo Shimura watched everything happening on the street in a dark room. Zombies dig through human bodies, take out the internal organs and feast on them. The screams of the villagers. Danzo saw everything, but Danzo looked unmoved, as if he didn't see it at all. Danzo-sama, should we take action? The situation is developing very seriously. If this continues, Konoha may be doomed. A ninja next to him reported the current situation. No, we don't need to interfere, just leave it to Tsunade. However, Danzo didn't have any intention of taking action. Tell all the root members to wait and see what happens and not to interfere. This is a great opportunity to remove Tsunade from power, eliminate other forces, and allow me to take over. Danzo didn't care how many people would die tonight, he only knew one thing, and that was a good thing for him. Originally, after the death of Sarutobi Hiruzen, he had the best chance of becoming Hokage, but Tsunade showed up halfway, causing him to miss the position of Hokage again. Now that there is such a big crisis, he can't handle it with Tsunade afterwards, so he can only force her to step down. The best result is that Tsunade also dies here. That way no one can stop him from becoming Hokage and taking control of Konoha. As for whether there will be huge problems, he is not worried. He has countless powerful root ninjas on hand, and he asks himself that his strength is not weak and he is definitely capable of protecting himself. For his own benefit, he would not hesitate to watch his fellow villagers die. He is truly a beast. At this time, all the living people are working hard to escape from the zombies and fight back to save people as much as possible. Everyone is doing what they can. Chidori. Sasuke used his Chidori to kill several mutated and powerful zombies in one go. Then he knelt down panting and used Chidori one after another, which was quite overwhelming for him. Sasuke. Sakura saw that Sasuke was exhausted and quickly came to help him. As a timid girl, she tried her best to overcome her fear and killed some zombies in order to save people and help Sasuke. But she is a genin after all, and she will still reach her limit. Idiot, hurry up and run away. Sasuke said breathlessly. I won't run away, I want to protect you, I can't leave you alone. Sakura used all her strength to lift Sasuke up and take him out of here. Idiot. Seeing Sakura working so hard for him, even Sasuke, who had always been cold, had to be moved. Ooh. At this moment, some blood-charged zombies came over. They killed all the lives they saw around them and turned them into food for themselves. The only ones left nearby were Sasuke and Sakura. Sakura, run quickly, these guys are very powerful. After Sasuke saw these zombies approaching, he quickly told Sakura to get out of here. He had just fought against these blood-charged zombies. If he hadn't been specially trained by Kakashi and had excellent reflexes, there would be no way to deal with them. I do not go. However, Sakura is very stubborn and will not give up on Sasuke no matter what. Ah. The next second, the blood-charged zombies roared and rushed towards Sasuke and Sakura, intending to attack. Seeing this, Sasuke subconsciously pushed Sakura away. Uzumaki Naruto combos. Just then Naruto's voice came, and more than a dozen of Naruto's shadow clones appeared, kicking the blood-charged zombies in the face, knocking them away, and piled them together. Sasuke, Sakura, leave it to me. Let you see how strong I am now. I saw Naruto falling from the sky, with two clones on either side of him gathering Rasengan in his hands. Double Rasengan. Naruto waved his hands and hit all the two Rasengans on the engorged zombies. Boom. The power of this Rasengan is quite powerful, causing quite a stir. The fierce wind and huge force can directly crush the head of a blood-charged zombie. Hee hee. How about I be awesome? Naruto said while looking at Sasuke and Sakura with a smile. Naruto, you are so strong. Sakura looked at Naruto in disbelief, she really couldn't imagine this was Naruto's strength. How can you be so strong? Sasuke looked at Naruto, who was obviously the last one, but now he had exploded with such terrifying strength. His eyes were trembling in disbelief. Is this still the last one he knew? Hee hee, a lot of things happened, which made me stronger. Anyway, you should go to a safe place. Leave this place to me. Naruto pointed his thumb at himself with a confident expression, and then went to deal with the zombies coming over. Sasuke, let's go, Naruto must be careful. Sakura knew very well that they couldn't help in their current state, so she could only take Sasuke out of here first. Why is Naruto, who is obviously the tail end of the crane, so strong? However, Sasuke has been thinking about Naruto becoming stronger. He was regarded as a genius, but he was surpassed by the crane. He couldn't accept this no matter what. If Sakura hadn't been dragging him along, he wouldn't have known how to walk. You must be jealous. This is the power that boy has now. You can't surpass him at all. At this time, Orochimaru's voice sounded in Sasuke's ears. He had to be stunned for a moment, and then quickly looked around. Then he saw a zombie not far away talking to Orochimaru in front of his face. Have you seen these monsters? They are all my masterpieces, but they are all failures. They only serve to create chaos. And I have a perfect virus that can carry out a new evolution. Look over there. After listening to Orochimaru's words, he looked into the distance. On the roof, Orochimaru was being chased by Tsunade. His body was like a liquid, constantly squirming and splitting or changing into various shapes, avoiding Tsunade's attacks again and again, and moving to the other side, or splitting into several to confuse Tsunade. This is no longer something humans can do. I don't look like a human now, but I am beyond human. I am no longer bound by the weak human body. I have power that you can't imagine. If you want to become as powerful as me, come to me. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he jumped further away. The building under his feet had been destroyed by Tsunade. Is this Orochimaru's power? Looking at the scene around him, Sasuke's lips trembled in disbelief. Sasuke, what's wrong with you? Let's go. Sakura kept shouting at the side, but Sasuke came to his senses after hearing it, and continued walking forward without saying anything. At this time, Naruto didn't know how many zombies he had killed. Faced with this group of zombies who had no intelligence, he directly pierced the head with a kunai without any pressure. These disgusting monsters. Naruto looked at these zombies coming over in pain, and his expression was not very good. After all, his physical strength had its limits. But, Naruto looked behind him and saw some villagers behind him who were injured and unable to move due to the collapse of the rubble. They looked forward with firm eyes. He must fight for the villagers behind him. Please help me, I'm sorry I shouldn't have scolded you. This villager used to often call Naruto a fox demon or something. Now severely injured and unable to move, he has no choice but to rely on the once abusive boy. He was very afraid that Naruto would refuse to save him because of his grudge, so he regretted apologizing at this time. Don't worry, I am the man who will become Hokage in the future, and I will never leave you alone. Naruto gave a thumbs up to the people behind him, then took a deep breath, concentrated, and entered the world inside him. Hey Kyuubi, lend me your power. Can't you just use my power without my consent? How about borrowing it? The nine tails in the cage looked at Naruto indifferently, not understanding what this kid was thinking. Couldn't he just use his power at will? Why should he discuss it with himself? Ah, what are you talking about? That is your power. However, Naruto looked at Kyuubi with a puzzled expression and said this. Ah. Now it was Kyuubi's turn to look confused. Although I can mobilize your power at any time, I, Naruto Uzumaki, am not the kind of robber who takes other people's things without asking. If you don't want me to, there is no way I can use your power. Naruto stared into Kyuubi's eyes seriously, showing no trace of timidity. You boy. Kyuubi didn't expect that Naruto would be so shocked and had to show surprise. He couldn't see any lies in these clear eyes. Are you stupid? You can use it directly but you still ask. Do you know how many people want to get my power? If they know your thoughts, they will definitely laugh at you. Kyuubi said with a sneer. So what? However, Naruto didn't mind at all about this little thing. Speak directly and implement the principles. This is my way of ninja. Naruto smiled his signature smile and poked his chest with his thumb. He may be small, but his voice sounds powerful. If you don't want to, then I will use my own power to solve it. After Naruto finished speaking, he turned around to leave the inner world. His movements were very neat and not sloppy at all. Kyuubi watched Naruto disappear from his sight, and it took him a long time to recover. This boy. Kyuubi had to show surprise when he heard this. It originally thought that Naruto was just a formality, but it turned out to be true. Huh, what a stupid boy, that's interesting. Kyuubi showed a smile, showing some interest in Naruto. At this time, Naruto directly used his only chakra to convert Gamabunta to help fight. In the end, it was Gamaji who was summoned. Why is it you? Where is the boss? Naruto shouted anxiously to Gamaji. How do I know? It's pretty good that your chakra can summon me. What on earth is going on here? Why are there monsters everywhere? Kamekichi was frightened by the situation around him and quickly jumped on top of Naruto's head for protection. How do I know? I have to rely on myself. Naruto took a deep breath, picked up his kunai and prepared to fight. Boy, let me give you some of my power. Just then Kyuubi's voice resounded in Naruto's mind, making him slightly stunned. Kyuubi, you. Naruto thought Kyuubi would ignore him, so he had to be surprised. Don't think too much, I just think it's a bit troublesome for you to die. Let me see how far your stupid brain can use my power. After the Kyuubi's voice ended, Naruto's whole body was covered with extremely powerful red chakra. He now feels full of power throughout his body again. Thank you, Kyuubi. After Naruto finished speaking with satisfaction, he directly used his psychic technique to summon Gamabunta. As soon as such a huge toad landed on the ground, it caused quite a stir and killed many zombies and Javos in one go. Boss Wentai, a group of monsters are attacking the village, please support us. Dad, I'm scared to death. Naruto and Gamaji both shouted excitedly. It's true, you little brat is really incredible. And what has become of this world? Why are there still such terrifying monsters? After Gamabunta finished speaking, he immediately turned around and drew his sword, directly cutting off some Javos that were about to pounce. With such huge support from Gamabunta, Konoha's situation gradually turned around. And after learning that this was actually done by Uzumaki Naruto, who had always been disliked by everyone, many people had to gradually change their views on this person who had been insulted countless times. That night, Konoha didn't sleep at all. As promised, the next live broadcast of Containment Live has finally arrived. Containment prediction begins, spectators are now invited. Marvel Universe. Tony Stark is working on the new weapon Rhodey got, the Crystal Vine missile. This thing is really scary. Once it bursts out, it will emit strange ice particles, turning anything it touches into crystal. Not only that, when those objects are completely crystallized for a period of time, they will explode, allowing the crystal fragments to touch more things, whether they are dead or living objects. Once they encounter the end of only crystallization, they will continue to explode, spread. According to Tony Stark's calculations, if this thing continues to spread, it will only take less than a month to crystallize the entire Earth. After analysis, it was found that it cannot be destroyed by any means. It will still work as long as there is a little crystal left, and it cannot be melted by tens of thousands of degrees of flames. But fortunately, this thing can't interfere with quartz. Therefore, there is a large amount of quartz material in this missile, and the diffusion range is much wider than the crystal vine, ensuring that the spread of the crystal vine is controlled within the quartz range. Of course it's not absolute. When Tony Stark asked Rhodey to fire 3 missiles as an experiment, 1 crystal flew out of the quartz range. Had Tony not prepared quartz for covering in advance, it would have been a huge trouble. By the way, Tony also used it to bomb the Weeping Angels, and it did crystallize successfully. Just when everyone thought that the problem was solved and looked away, that thing actually broke free from the crystal, moved at high speed, and killed several people. This made the Weeping Angels even more mysterious. Hey, Tony, can this thing be mass-produced? I think the military is very interested in this weapon, and they are waiting for my report. Rhodey said to Tony Stark. During the experiment, there were SHIELD and military people observing, not to mention the spies in the dark. Therefore, many people knew about the existence of such a terrifying weapon. Just tell them that as long as I can't mass produce it, no one can do it, and according to my calculations, it will take a lot of time for me to do it. Tony said nonchalantly. Whether it is the compression of crystal molecules and quartz, or the launch explosion, it is a completely different technology from gunpowder missiles. To achieve real mass production, it will take a lot of time. And Tony is now doing other research, so the time will have to double. Now enter the live broadcast of the containment prediction. Just when Tony was about to continue his research, a screen appeared in front of him. Oh, by the way, today is the time. What kind of containment will appear today? Tony thought with curiosity. Hey, Tony, what is this? Why is there a screen? This time Rhodey spoke with a puzzled look on his face. He could actually see this screen. You can see this screen. Tony looked at Rhodes in surprise. He couldn't see it before. What do you mean, Tony? You already knew about this screen. Rhodes looked at Tony in confusion, completely confused as to what was going on. How do you say this? Looking at Rhodes' confused look. Tony wanted to explain but didn't know how. The Shield building. Pierce, I really didn't expect that you would be a Hydra. Please tell me how many Hydras there are in Shield. In the interrogation room, Nick Fury stared at Pierce opposite, with a bit of sadness in his eyes. Why don't you tell me how you discovered me? Pierce had a gloomy look on his face. He really couldn't figure out where he had made a mistake and someone would actually find out. He was still discovered by Nick Fury, and he was finished now. This is our secret. After Nick Fury finished speaking, he looked at Natasha beside him. In fact, these are all Natasha's abilities. Ever since Natasha's brain potential was stimulated by CPH-4, she has gained all kinds of incredible superpowers. Among them is a very outrageous and terrifying ability, which is to check radio waves. As long as it is a communication device, it will release radio waves, and Natasha can turn on the radio waves and see the content inside. No secrets are hidden. In order to test this ability 2 days ago, Natasha specially checked every radio wave in S.H.I.E.L.D. As a result, it was unexpectedly discovered that someone was sending the containment items that appeared during this period to someone. Then after tracing, the recipient of the letter was Pierce. Originally, I was still thinking about how to investigate Pierce, but later I discovered that Natasha can also read minds. As long as she touches the other person, she can see clearly the other person's past. Just call Pierce over and let Natasha read her mind. Then use Pierce's memory to find his evidence. Pierce was speechless. Now the Hydra forces under Pierce's command have been controlled by Natasha using ghost soldiers. Now Pierce has completely lost his former glory. Pierce, don't even think about that plan. I have stopped it. The aircraft carrier will not go up to the sky. In this way, your Hydra will be completely ruined. When Nick Fury said this, his face looked quite bad. According to Natasha's description of Pierce's memory, the so-called Insight Project is just a weapon used by Hydra to massacre others at will in order to control the world. The idea of eliminating criminals in advance is just an excuse. The most important thing is that Zora during World War II is actually alive in a digital life form, which is outrageous. Originally, Nick Fury wanted to catch Zola, but unexpectedly, Zola escaped through the transfer program in advance. Now there are many hidden dangers. Haha, Fury, do you think you have won? I'm not the only Hydra. There are Hydras everywhere in S.H.I.E.L.D., no, even in the whole country. I don't even know who else is there, after all. There are so many. It's even possible that the cleaning staff passing by are Hydras. Pierce shouted with great excitement. He even tried to rush forward, but was restrained by handcuffs. When one head is severed, 2 new heads will grow. This is our Hydra. Just wait until S.H.I.E.L.D. is controlled by us. Pierce's eyes were as white as copper bells and filled with bloodshot eyes, and he shouted angrily, trying to maintain the last bit of dignity. Well, don't worry, I will find them one by one. Nick Fury replied coldly. In the past, he would have had a headache, but now with Natasha's superpower, he believed that he would be able to catch all the Hydras sooner or later. But the problem is that if it really penetrates all fields, then the entire country may have problems if it moves, and the council may have to stop itself. Forget it, we'll talk about it later. Just then a screen appeared in front of Nick Fury. Seeing this, he glanced at Natasha, and the two of them immediately went out, along with Hawkeye and Hill, so that they could view the containment items together. Leo Universe. The Star Cluster is following up on the Guntera's imitation project. Captain, with our technology, it is simply impossible to imitate such a large robot. A team member came over and said, what about just weapons? What about technological applications? The stars asked, looking at Guntera's whole body. Some of this can be tried, but it will take time. Then try, I will do my best to communicate with the people above and ask them to mobilize more resources. As soon as Zhu Xingtuan finished speaking, a screen appeared in front of him. Seeing this screen, Zhu Xingtuan remembered that today was the day to broadcast the contained objects live. At this time Feng Yuan ran over. The two glanced at each other without speaking, and walked away together. Welcome all selected viewers back to the live broadcast room. Now a new containment object is about to appear. Please be prepared. An electronic sound came from the screen to remind everyone that the live broadcast was about to begin. Luffy. Hey. Everyone. Long time no see. Sun Wukong. Long time no see. How are you guys doing lately? Tony Stark. It's good, but I'm busy every day. These containment objects and rewards all challenge human cognition. Bruce Wayne. Indeed, it is quite difficult to mass produce my night riding equipment, and it may not even be exactly the same. Bruce Wayne. By the way, Diana, are you there? Diana. What's the matter? Bruce Wayne. I investigated matters related to you, and I found a photo from World War II, and you appeared in it. What's going on? How old are you and who are you? Diana. Don't you think it's rude to ask a woman her age? Bruce Wayne. I'm sorry, but I really want to know about you. Diana. I'm sorry, I don't want to tell your playboy my affairs. Sanji. Brother, this is not how you chase girls. Jiraiya. Yes, you are so insincere. Tony Stark. You can't do this. Do you want me to teach you a few tricks? Bruce Wayne. I'm not. Naruto. Although I really want to watch the live broadcast now, I don't have time at all. There are too many things. Luffy. What's wrong? Naruto. Our village was attacked by zombies last night. Now we are rebuilding and rescuing people. We also have to be on guard. We are very busy. Tsunade. Naruto. Don't talk about the village's affairs casually. Naruto. Huh. It doesn't matter, it's not the same world. Nick Fury. Wait a minute. Zombies, the kind that have no intelligence and just eat people. Why do you have them there? Tsunade. It's not the C-virus reward Orochimaru received before. Tsunade. The C-virus has the power to turn people into zombies, and zombies can continue to evolve by eating people. Nick Fury. What? There is such a terrible virus. Orochimaru. Hehe, Tsunade, you are wrong. It is not as simple as turning into a monster, but it can promote a new evolution. Tsunade. Orochimaru. Why are you here too? Orochimaru. I don't know, I suddenly saw this screen, I can send my thoughts and talk to you. Is this your secret? We got our power here before, it's really interesting. Garp. Indeed, this is the first time I have encountered such a thing. By the way, the one called Orochimaru, what do you mean by the new evolution you just mentioned? Orochimaru. The C-virus has the ability to transform the genetic structure of organisms. Zombies and the like are the product of inhaling the gas diluted with the C-virus. Orochimaru. If you inject the complete C-virus, you will not become a zombie but will evolve into a life form called Javo, which has higher intelligence and strength. Even if you are seriously injured, you have amazing regeneration ability and can even continue to evolve. Orochimaru. After I was injected with the C-virus, I evolved into a whole new field, surpassing humans and possessing power that you can't imagine. Barton. Hey, is it my illusion? I feel like this person is like a charlatan. Jiraiya. This guy is really weird. Orochimaru. That's your ignorance. I'm just explaining my research results. Natasha. It feels a bit like Tony Stark. Tony Stark. Hey. Don't joke. Tsunade. What kind of evolution is that? Whether it's zombies or Javo, they are all monsters without their own thoughts and at the mercy of others. They have no thoughts and are not even as good as humans. Orochimaru. That's because the C-virus I injected them with is very low level. If it were me, it wouldn't happen. What's more, if most people in the world don't have their own thoughts, there won't be any conflicts. You have to know that wars break out because people have different ideas. If people all over the world have no thoughts and their wills are controlled by the same person, there will be no more wars in the world. Diana. What a joke. Controlling the thoughts of the whole world, what kind of crazy talk is this? What qualifications do you have to control others? Tony Stark. What a joke. Controlling the thoughts of the whole world, what crazy talk is this? What qualifications do you have to control others? Nysa Stark. You're right. If you dare to control my thoughts, I will definitely make you pay. If people don't have their own thoughts, they can't build the world today. Orochimaru. However, it is because thoughts are too complicated and people's behavior cannot be controlled that disputes and wars continue to occur. My ideal is destined to be unacceptable to no one, but it doesn't matter. I will continue to mass produce the C-virus and control the entire world. Jiraiya. I will definitely stop you. Orochimaru. Natasha. Oh my god, how can such a terrible and weird psychopath appear inexplicably? Rod. Fortunately, it doesn't exist in our world, otherwise it will be troublesome. Nobita. Z's, a bunch of Z's suddenly appeared, making everyone stunned. What is this doing? Luffy. Nobita, what are you talking about? Nobita. Z. Zoro. I think he is actually sleeping. Doraemon. Sorry, this guy, he falls asleep as soon as he gets home from school. Nick Fury. Can't you wake him up? The Z's that keep popping up will block the screen. Doraemon. There is no way. If this kid falls asleep, it is difficult to wake him up. He should have done his homework first, but he didn't do it. Today he was kept in class to make up for his homework because he didn't do his homework last night. He can't change this habit. Doraemon. Does anyone have a way to change this habit? Garp. It's very simple. Throw him into the deep mountains and old forests and see if he dares to sleep. After hearing Garp's speech, everyone was silent, except Luffy who fell into fearful memories. Garp. It's just that seeing so many Z's makes me want to. Quote. Garp. Luffy, Zoro, Z, Nami, why can I spread sleepiness through the screen? Sengoku. Garp. Don't embarrass yourself. Rod. Are these people fools? Thor. Hey, brother, father, are you there? Can you let me go back? Odin. Thor, you are not allowed to come back until you have reflected on yourself. Thor. No way. Tony Stark. What happened? Kicked out of the house. Thor. How did you know? Tony Stark. Really? Barton. By the way, there was a few days ago something fell in the desert of Mexico. That thing was the hammer that Thor used in the battle on the screen before. Quote. Barton. The strange thing is that I can't pick it up at all, and this Thor can't do it either. How come you could pick it up before, but now you can't? Thor. It's because my father took away my divine power. Loki. Thor, you should reflect on yourself. Thor. Woo woo woo. Nick Fury. What? Asgardians appear on Earth. Nick Fury was surprised when he got the news. He had seen Thor's fighting power on the screen before. Such a powerful person actually appeared on Earth. He didn't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. But it seems that he has no power now, maybe he can try to contact Natasha. Come with me to Mexico. Nick Fury made a decision immediately. Kamar Taj. Ancient One was not surprised by this, she had known about it for a long time. In a bar in a small town in Mexico. Ever since Thor could no longer lift the hammer, he has been particularly depressed and has been drinking in the bar every day. Mr. Thor, drink less, after all, you are not spending your money. Jane Foster next to him reminded. Oh, sorry. Thor only reacted then and looked at Xie Yun who was drinking with him. It's okay, I can still afford it. Xie Yun didn't mind. For this live broadcast editing, the system would give him a lot of money. Last time, it gave him tens of millions. It was nothing to invite Thor to drink. Thank you, Xie Yun, you are my good friend. One day I will definitely take you to the Asgard to play. Thor immediately clinked glasses with Xie Yun excitedly. Since he fell into the mortal world, he has been penniless. His food and accommodation during this period were all provided by Xie Yun and Jane Foster. After Xie Yun took a sip of wine, he looked at the screen next to him. From the audience's perspective, it was quite interesting, and it felt a bit like a public execution. While everyone was discussing, the sound of the screen continued. The next containment to be predicted is called Between the Stairs. After the electronic sound sounded. When the electronic sound sounded, a particularly dark door appeared on the screen. Behind the door was a staircase going down. Roads. Huh. Containment stairwell, what kind of strange name is this? Tony Stark. Road, don't underestimate the objects contained here. They are all very scary monsters. Bruce Wayne. Or objects. DC Universe. Bruce Wayne keenly believes that this stairwell may be a terrifying existence related to stairs. Just like the unstoppable kitchen knife he sealed in a top-grade safe. I just don't know what a staircase does. In a certain university, a passage to a dark basement suddenly appeared. No one knew where it appeared. It had never existed before. Then someone was brave enough to go down and explore, but he never came back. Later, the school called the police and asked someone to go inside to look for the missing person. In the end, even the police never came out. Such a strange thing alerted the shelter to investigate. Then the screen switched, and a heavily armed team walked towards the dark underground passage. This underground passage is very dark. Although the troops have extremely powerful lights in their hands, they cannot illuminate very far and can only barely illuminate the environment around their feet. This troop carefully went downstairs. They had already walked through more than a dozen flights of stairs. According to calculations, they had descended at least 6 or 7 floors. Such a result is undoubtedly particularly confusing. Because judging from the architectural design drawings of this school, there is no such deep basement at all. If you go down at this distance, you should have access to the school's underground garage. As for the lower parts, there are no underground works at all. And along the way, they discovered some beast-like scratches on the nearby wall. This made everyone immediately understand that something existed here. Woo 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 woo. At this time, there was a sound of sobbing from below, which sounded like a woman crying. Attention, there is someone down there. After the captain finished speaking, everyone speeded up and walked down, while also keeping vigilance around them. Judging from the clarity of the sound, it seems that the source of the sound is not far below. But at this moment, a strange situation occurred, that is, the troops did not know how many stairs they had walked down. The crying sound was still the same as before, and there seemed to be no feeling of getting closer. In other words, no matter how much they continue to walk down, they can't get close to the sound. Dong dong. Dong dong. At this time, there was a rhythmic knocking sound on the wall next to him. Ah! In the originally quiet and dark environment, hearing the woman sobbing was terrifying enough. As a result, there was a sudden sound of knocking on the wall. Everyone was so frightened that they couldn't help but scream. Calm down. Don't panic. The captain immediately comforted all the team members and then took a deep breath. Report, I suspect that there are other things besides this in this stair space. Do you want to continue exploring? Continue. The voice from the other end of the wireless intercom prompted the team to continue moving forward. After hearing this, the captain did not hesitate and directly ordered everyone to follow him. They didn't know how many floors they had penetrated. According to calculations, they must have traveled more than a kilometer. Think about the concept of 1,000 meters underground. No matter how the outside world measures it, there is simply not that much space underneath this school. In other words, from the moment you step into this stairwell, you will enter another infinite downward superimposed space. No one knows whether there is an end. Tony Stark. What? Infinite downward superposition of space. How is this possible? This is completely inconsistent with common sense of physics. Modu. Is this a very advanced space magic? Kama Tajri. Mordo has some understanding of this infinite space, and there is a particularly advanced space magic that can do it. Just like Guyi's control of the mirror dimension to constantly switch scenes, it can also achieve the effect of infinite superposition of spaces. It's a pity that Master Guyi is not here, otherwise you can ask her. Strange looked at the sanctuary at the back. Now Guyi is immersed in using new magic sources to create a career belonging to Kamatage magic. If nothing too troublesome happened, she wouldn't show up. Chopper. But this is really scary. It's dark enough, and there are these strange noises. If I had run away. Naruto. That's right. It looks like a haunted place at first glance. Warring states. Wait a minute, run. Why didn't those missing people run out in the end? If there is no end to going down, there will always be someone who wants to go back up, right? Bruce Wayne. There is a possibility that going up is also in a state of infinite space. Orochimaru. There is another kind, that is, there are some unknown monsters in that space. Seeing Orochimaru's words, everyone remembered the scratches on the wall that had appeared before. It is enough to show that there is another unknown creature in this space. In a certain underground base, Orochimaru licked his tongue and looked at the screen. It's a bit interesting, infinite space. It's a bit like Izanami of the Uchiha clan, but this is not an illusion. This screen can give me a lot of fun. At this time, the screen was continuing. The troops continued to move down. They were all on tenterhooks at this moment. Fortunately, there were many of them. Otherwise, if there was only one person, they would probably go crazy with fear and even run away regardless of the order. In this dark passage, there is no tool that can calculate time. The only thing they can rely on is their watch. Time passed by, and after more than 10 or 20 minutes, this troop had already gone down who knows how far. In short, it was definitely higher than the height of the school. And what was even more strange was the female sobbing that kept coming from below. No matter how they walked, they could not get close. And the sound of banging on the wall was always there, and I had no idea where it came from. Just as everyone was about to continue walking up the stairs to the next level, they saw a human figure standing on the platform one level below. This man was leaning against the wall, not knowing what he was doing. Watch for a person, make contact now. After the captain finished speaking, he walked over cautiously. Hello, who are you and why are you here? The captain asked as he approached. When he was close enough to the person, the flashlight could barely illuminate the person clearly. Now the captain had to look ugly. The other party was naked, and the muscles all over his body looked badly rotted. His hands were claws, and he was over 2 meters tall. He didn't look like a human being. Ah! This unknown thing roared, turned around quickly, and swung its claws towards the captain. The captain didn't react for a moment and was hit directly. He was obviously wearing the highest standard of body armor, so even if he was caught in the aftermath of the explosion, he would be fine. However, such a powerful body armor could not withstand the monster's claws and was directly pierced, digging out the heart. Kill the captain with one move. Ho ho ho. Ah. Bang bang bang. The monster's roars, screams, and gunshots echoed through the stairwell at this moment. In this chaotic situation, it can be seen that the bullets hitting this monster cannot cause any useful damage. They are basically scratches, and some bullets are even bounced away. It's enough to show how terrifying this monster's defense is. Several team members died in the monster's claws. Even if someone ran away upwards, they would be caught within a short time. Let's go. One team member shouted to the remaining person, and then pulled 2 high explosive grenades on his body. Set off a terrifying explosion. Fierce flames filled the platform. The strange thing was that even though the explosion was so powerful, the flames could not light up the dark stairwell. At this time, the last team member ran upwards with all his strength, trying to get out of this terrible place. There were so many people just now, so even though he was in a weird environment, he wasn't that scared. But now that he is alone, why is he not afraid? His mentality is about to explode. The environment was dark, the light source was very weak, the sounds of crying and banging on the walls filled the ears, and the tragic scene of the death of his teammates lingered in his mind. This task force soldier's mentality completely exploded. He kept howling and ran upstairs, trying to get out of this ghost place as soon as possible. As a result, he ran so hard that his steps slipped and he fell heavily. Just as he was about to stand up, the monster's howl came. I saw the monster chasing up from downstairs. The power of the high explosive grenade did not kill him, and it was even impossible to see any injuries on its body. Ah! The soldier watched the monster getting closer and closer to him. He was so frightened that he completely lost his mind and kept shooting, but it had no effect at all. The result of the soldier can be imagined. The screen also switched to the entrance to the stairwell of the school at this time. The person responsible for responding outside heard the screams of the troop through the intercom and knew what happened. The shelter will then send more capable troops down with sophisticated weapons to eliminate the monster and thoroughly explore the secrets of this stairwell. But the monster was so terrifying that it could not be destroyed with any known weapon. And according to the report, some troops once seemed to have eliminated the monster, but as they continued to go down, the monster reappeared. Whether this monster will regenerate indefinitely in the stairwell, or whether there is more than one, no one knows. Even if any team is lucky enough not to encounter monsters, they will be driven crazy and shoot at their own people due to the environment. After an unknown number of people were sacrificed, the containment group stopped exploring the stairwell. The entrance to the stairwell was completely sealed with cement, the school was purchased, and the memories of irrelevant personnel were erased to prevent anyone from approaching this place. The video ends abruptly here. Everyone looked a bit unsatisfied. Orochimaru. Haha. It seems that my guess is correct. There are really scary monsters in this stairwell. It's interesting. What kind of weapons are these? They are so powerful. Rhodes. Hey, doesn't this person know anything about guns? Why is he so happy when he sees monsters? Jiraiya. There's just something wrong with his brain. Natasha. Dark environment, narrow space, scary monsters, it's simply the cliché of a third-rate horror movie. Now start predicting the universe where the contained objects will appear. Seeing this, everyone stopped talking. Rhodes. Containment object appears. Is this stairwell going to appear? Tony Stark. Yes, the containment object mentioned on the screen will randomly appear in the world of each of us viewers. If it really appears in my world, then I must study this stairwell carefully. This kind of infinite superposition space is really interesting. After Tony Stark got the Void Engine, he had a dark space with him. If he could use the Void Engine to study and understand the principle of infinite superposition space, could it be used in dark space? Then he would have infinite space capacity. The stairwell will appear in the world of Ultraman Leo. When the electronic sound sounds, the screen changes. Zhu Xing Tuan. What? It will actually be our world. Just then the screen switched to a street. Feng Yuan and other team members were chasing an alien from space. The speed of that universe is so fast that even Feng Yuan has a hard time catching up. Finally, they ran into a building and didn't know where they were going for a while, so the MAC team members decided to disperse and pursue them. Then two people discovered the spaceman and immediately gave chase. As a result, they ran into the stairwell door after him. Not good. When Zhu Xingtuan saw this scene, his eyes widened instantly. Now we are in big trouble. Boom, boom. And it's not just that. The ground nearby suddenly cracked open, and a monster crawled out from the ground and began destroying the city everywhere. But it's just right. Seeing this, Zhu Xingtuan immediately picked up the walkie-talkie and gave orders. Everyone go deal with the monster immediately. Feng Yuan, you go find the spaceman. Zhu Xingtuan took this opportunity to separate Feng Yuan from the others. But Captain, wouldn't it be too dangerous to let Feng Yuan go find the cosmic man alone? Immediately, other teammates raised questions and felt that this distribution was quite random. This is an order. However, the stars issued the order in a tough way. After the others heard this, and there were monsters nearby, they had no time to argue, so they had no choice but to do this first. Zhu Xingtuan immediately typed the text on the screen and sent it to Feng Yuan. Zhu Xingtuan. Feng Yuan, I'm begging you to take care of that stairwell. We must rescue people. Feng Yuan. No problem. Feng Yuan paid attention to the screen when he was chasing the cosmonauts. Normally, the Star clans would have ordered the area to be cordoned off, but if teammates ran in, they would have to be rescued. So Feng Yuan immediately hurried to the stairwell. Rhodes. Hey, what is this guy named Zhu Xingguan thinking? Why did he let that person go to such a scary place by himself? Tony Stark. You'll find out later. Rhodes. Ah. Then can you tell me what's going on with that giant animal? Tony Stark. That's a monster unique to Leo's world. Orochimaru. Monster. I wonder how it compares to Kyuubi. At this time, Feng Yuan had already run into the stairwell. He looked at the dark environment in front of him and took a deep breath, then raised his right hand to reveal the ring with lion pupils. Leo. Feng Yuan was seen transforming into life-sized Ultraman Leo. He immediately flew downstairs to look for the two team members. Rhodes. Hey. Why did this person transform? Where did this clothes come from? Nick Fury. It's not his clothes, it's who he is. Tony Stark. Let me explain. At this time, Leo was falling rapidly towards the bottom of the stairwell. With his speed, it was very easy to fly through several flights of stairs in 1 second. This full-speed flight, I don't know how many floors he went down, but he didn't see the two team members who came in before. The crying sounds that kept coming to his ears and the sounds of banging on the walls around him made him a little irritable and strange. How deep is this? Who did it? When Leo went deep into the stairwell, a very fierce battle was going on outside. The monsters are wreaking havoc everywhere as soon as they appear, and the MAC team is struggling to deal with them. However, when they were almost completely destroyed, the star clusters finally arrived here in time with Gunteras. With the appearance of Gunteras, the battle situation will be reversed immediately. Rhodes. There are actually giant robots. Tony. I always thought you were the most outstanding scientist, but it doesn't look like you are now. Tony Stark. What do you mean by that? Tell you, as long as you give me time, I promise to make it. By the way, where are the data and analysis results of star cluster and Gunteras, can you tell me? Zhu Xingtuan. Are you sure I want to send it to you here? It's very complicated. After Zhuoxingguan finished speaking, he tried to send out something, a bunch of numbers, symbols, and words, which seemed very confusing. Frankie. This is kind of interesting. If I could figure it out, I could make a giant General Frankie. Luffy. That's great. Warring states. Don't even think about it, we will do it first. Jiraiya. I don't care about this, but don't block the screen. While everyone was discussing these things, the screen suddenly emitted electronic sounds again. However, in the universe of contained objects, there are countless infinitely superimposed spaces like stairwells, and one of them is a very famous supermarket called IKEA. After the electronic sound started playing, the screen switched and a large-looking supermarket appeared. Strange. Hey, haven't we finished containing the stairwell yet? Why continue? Natasha. Maybe something has changed. Bruce Wayne. There is also a new infinite space. What is the secret of this supermarket? IKEA supermarket sounds like a very ordinary supermarket name, but no one knows when this supermarket appeared. It has never appeared in an open space, but it suddenly appeared one day. According to the investigation, this supermarket has unlimited space. If you enter casually, you will almost never have a chance to come out. At first, I used a drone to explore, but after a while, the drone lost control. Then we sent people in. It was originally agreed that he would come out in 2 hours, but the D-class personnel failed to come out after a whole day and night, and the contact was completely cut off. I don't know his condition. After that, we didn't know how many D-class personnel were sent in, and we even changed the method and directly destroyed the wall to get in. However, if you enter it through a passage other than the entrance, you will only see a normal supermarket, and you will come out after a while, and you will not find the missing people at all. That means that the abnormality in this supermarket can only be triggered by entering from the entrance. Quote. After I don't know how many D-class personnel entered, one person finally escaped. He was covered in injuries and looked like he had experienced a battle. According to his description, we learned that the interior of this supermarket is an infinitely extending and intricate maze-like space. Not only that, there are also a group of monsters that look like mannequin dolls. They have their own consciousness and wander around. Move around. When the ceiling lights are still on, they won't do anything. But when the lights are turned off and the supermarket is dark, these models will be violent, saying that they want to drive away people after closing time, and will kill this D-class personnel. S companions were killed. This D-class personnel spent a lot of effort running around to find the exit. According to him, he couldn't find the route he came from. Even if he could find it, he couldn't see the exit. That means the entrance and exit would disappear randomly. Appearing in different places, that's why so many people can't come out. Rod. Hey, is this a horror movie routine? Why does it look like that famous novel? Diana. Are you talking about Mist? It's a bit similar but not the same. Mordo. An ordinary supermarket will have infinite space and monsters. Is this cursed magic? Orochimaru. Magic. What is that, your chakra system? Modu. That's not it. It's the power to change the world. Orochimaru. Changing the world. That's interesting. While everyone was discussing, the screen continued. On the second day, we found a man running out from inside, followed by a monster similar to the model described by the D-class personnel chasing him out. However, what he didn't tell us was how many meters tall this monster was. The model actually took a knife and chopped the fleeing man into serious injuries. When they ran out of the supermarket, the mobile task force immediately shot and killed the model before going to save the man. That man was actually dead. After inspection, we found that he was carrying a diary recording his experience in the IKEA supermarket, so we decided to analyze it in the hope of getting useful clues. The diary content is as follows. So, I'm writing this for the record and can only assume that I suddenly went crazy. There's no way I'm bad at wayfinding, but now I've been stuck in IKEA for 2 days. I saw no one the whole time. At first I thought it was a prank. Turn the place into a maze, let everyone leave, watch me get lost, and everyone laughs. It was only when I returned the same way that I discovered that this was not the case. Everything changed and I finally got lost. The exit was gone, only rows of bookshelves. So, I'm stuck at IKEA. Sounds like a classic bad joke. The lights went out at 10 p.m. It almost gave me a heart attack. There was a sudden blackness after the huge electric clang. There were plenty of beds in the place, and my phone worked as a light, but there was no signal, so I found a bed to sleep in. I spent almost the entire next day looking for an exit but to no avail. But I did find a restaurant that served meatballs, so at least I wouldn't starve to death here. The punchline to a joke. Anyway, they were still hot and fresh, but I didn't see anyone cooking around. Maybe I should go to my bed before dark, since I can't search in the dark. It's 9:10 a.m. and the lights have just come back on. I must have searched the whole area, and the exit was obviously not here, so I had to look in a direction and hope for the best. On the third day of the Magic IKEA mysterious adventure, someone may want to ask me how I determine the time. First of all, I can look at my phone. Secondly, the light switches here are all regular. They turn off at a certain time and turn on at a certain time. Therefore, the cycle of day and night can be judged based on the light switch. I wasn't sure this place was weird before, but now I am. It took me almost 3 hours to walk in a straight line, insert IKEA joke here, and then I walked through the ladder and came to a pile of huge shelves. I climbed up to get my bearings, and the place seemed to stretch into infinity. It's like a scene from The Lion King, except the trees and grasslands are turned into shelves, tables, and trash. I did see someone moving not far away, and I wanted to go there. At first I thought it was an employee, it was wearing a uniform. But that's a maybe 7-foot tall long-armed, short-legged monster with no face, the kind of thing they'd hope would work in a super IKEA. But this strange thing completely ignored me. Since it has no eyes or ears, I'm not even sure it knows I exist. I thought about throwing something to attract its attention, but his hands are big enough to crush a watermelon, so I decided not to do it. It just kept walking and eventually left sight, so I decided to continue walking on the previous path. Anyway, no comfortable bed tonight. It seems that I have entered the table area of this store that is extremely hard and sharp. I'll probably have to get a few tablecloths to make do. My cell phone is out of battery today. It didn't help, but I felt like I had just lost a vital lifeline. Have you ever seen that scene in a cartoon, where you enter through a door in a corridor and then emerge from another door in the same corridor? That's how I feel now. For 2 whole days, all I saw was the same bookshelf. Row after row and row after row. I mean, come on, I love books as much as the next person, but this is too much. I was definitely still moving forward and I could see signs passing overhead. But unfortunately none of them say, exit. Not sure who I'm writing these questions to. Let's just consider it as preparation for my autobiography after I leave here. I'm going to call it, my super normal journey in a regular old IKEA. If I can come out. Finally found someone else. Turns out I'm not the only unlucky guy stuck here. Just lucky, I guess. My 6th night here. 2 staff monsters came at me in the dark, different from the first ones I'd seen, but still a mess. Heard them coming, they were saying something like the store is closed and I have to leave, friendly and polite tone. I'm not sure which is weirder, the fact that they don't have mouths at all, and the fact that they're trying to kill me when they say that. Running like a mad dog. So I ran away. Running like a maniac through IKEA in the dark. But I saw it just as I was leaving a pile of large shelves, lit by torches and floodlights. They built a whole town here. A huge wall was built with canopy beds, tables, etc. I swear to God this is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. Anyway, I think they saw me coming to, or heard my, delete sissy delete, manly scream of terror, because they opened the door and 2 guys waved me in. After the door was closed, you could still hear the employees snapping photos, and they were still politely announcing to us that the store was closing. But eventually they walked away. They call the town, the exchange, because that's what it says on the sign hanging from the ceiling. Returns and exchanges. A lamp they found, plugged into a wire, illuminated the night. There are beds, food, and people here. There are more than 50 wonderful people with normal faces and intact hands and feet. This is my 7th night here, and the first night I haven't spent in darkness. Spend a whole week at IKEA. This could be a TV show somewhere. Now that I have people around me, I'm starting to feel a little more normal. Maybe normal isn't quite right. But for a week with only the sound of my own footsteps for company, I became more and more certain that I was going crazy. Where I'm going to be put in a padded room and bang my head against the wall. But no, I feel pretty sane, thank you very much. It seems there are some towns here. Some have more, some have less. I find it unbelievable how so many people could go missing and not be found. Surely someone would have noticed that everyone went to IKEA and then disappeared. Or maybe not everyone. Maybe we are just the lucky few. People here call these employee monsters employees. It seemed like they were fine during the day, just minding their own business and wandering the aisles. Once the lights go out, they turn into lunatics. So during the day people can go find food, water and anything else they need. It seems there are restaurants and shops that are restocked from time to time. No one knows what happened. Maybe the staff did it. They don't seem to be very good at their jobs either, as restocks sometimes come at intervals, which means food needs to be conserved. Maybe they could do more work if they weren't so busy catching people in the dark. In short, when night comes, the employees become crazy and everyone has to guard the wall. Apparently that's the case everywhere in this place, wherever the hell it is. IKEA, where all the other IKEAs sprang up. Or maybe we're in some ordinary IKEA and it's all just a crazy dream of mind-numbing boredom. Who knows? Have been here for 10 days. Most of the people I asked said they no longer remember dates, and one person, Chris, said he had been here for a few years. Several years. There seemed to be rumors that someone had managed to escape. And those who saw the exit just said it would disappear before their eyes. I feel like not everyone believes this, but I do. Could explain part of why we're stuck here in the first place. I mean, come on, monster staff, endless high-quality Swiss furniture. I can't understand why they don't want to believe in disappearing doors. Anyway, today I went to a nearby store with Sandra and Jerry to scavenge for food, once you know the landmarks of this place. Navigation isn't that difficult either. The sign overhead helped a lot, but there was something else. Not far away was a large stretch of giant shelves stacked on top of each other, all the way to the east, which we all assumed was east. IKEA didn't seem to sell compasses, something that looked like towers made of wood, leading up to the ceiling. Maybe they tried to penetrate the roof. The lights were on at night, so someone must have been there, but it seemed to be days away, which is to say miles away, so no one here could really confirm. Looks like I was pretty lucky to have slept outside all week without getting torn to pieces by the staff. This is me. Good luck, good luck, good luck. We found something to eat in the store. Maybe those employees will restock at night, thank them. There's a phone on the wall and I want to try it. There were voices on the other end, but they were all gibberish. Random words are thrown out at random and no meaning can be found. Have you ever seen someone with aphasia? It sounds like that's the case. Anyway, he didn't answer my words. Sandra said all the phones here are like this. Oh, diary question again. I was thinking about something last night. The roofs here are so high, so far away that no one can tell whether it will last forever. So should there be weather or something in this place? I'm sure I've read before that some NASA buildings are so big that they have their own weather patterns, clouds and stuff like that. This place is definitely bigger than that, but when I think about it, I find that I never feel any temperature changes here. I'm going to add this to the amazing list of weird things. Employees raided Swap Town last night. There were probably 20 or 30 of them, and they all calmly and politely asked us to get out of here, while banging on the wall with their bare hands. Apparently this happens all the time, so everyone is prepared. Restaurant knives, axes made from lawn mower blades, fire axes. One guy named Wasim even made a crossbow. Anyway, there are holes in the wall. We found them earlier so we could stab them when the staff attacked. I've knocked down several of them myself. They don't seem to have any blood, which is weird, but if you cut a hole in them, they'll fall over just as easily as a normal person. We had to haul away the bodies in the morning, and obviously the dead would only attract more at night, and we had to get them away from Swaptown. We have 2 carts here that are used to move large boxes, so we load them up and take them to the loading area. It seems like people named everything here according to the labels above their heads. The loading area is horrendous. There are hundreds or even thousands of dead employees piled up in piles. No stink, thankfully. It seems that these things will not rot even if there is no blood. When unloading, my curiosity suddenly aroused, so I looked at an employee who had been chopped open. They have skin, or something that looks like skin, and that's it. No muscles, bones, organs. Are they alive? They definitely look like they have bones when they move and smash against walls. I'm also sure there was more than just skin resistance when the knife was inserted at night. Maybe they changed when they died. Just one more thing to add to the growing list of weird shit, I thought. Something occurred to me one night after the employee attack. Every time I see this scene on TV or in the movies, like it's the end of the world or everyone is stranded on an island or something, when groups like ours start to form, people always seem to start fighting with each other. Infighting over food leadership or something. But there's nothing like that here. People from other towns came here from time to check in or occasionally trade when there was a shortage. But everything was done cordially. Even friendly. Maybe it's the threat from the employees, or maybe the store's ability to keep restocking supplies means there's nothing to fight about here. Maybe people are better when they're not trusted. This is a good idea. I think I'll accept it. Dozens of people showed up at the door in the afternoon, from a town called Trolley. It seems employees broke through the walls and tore the town apart during the night. These 12 people were the only survivors among more than 100 people. Of course we let them in. Another point for the human elegance column. Then I asked if anyone knew how many towns there were, and between us and the newcomers, we came up with more than 20 names. 20 towns full of people, and God knows how many more there are. The slogan of this place should be, "How is this possible?" There must be someone, somewhere looking for the thousands of people who must be here. I've been here for over 2 months. The results didn't change much. A few new people showed up and had the same experience as the rest of us. Happy came to IKEA, but suddenly he was trapped in the faceless stranger's house in Billy's bookcase. Employees come to attack Swap Town once or twice a week. We killed them and dragged away the bodies, and sometimes they hunted a few of us first. They killed a guy named Jared a few weeks ago. It's honestly too scary. As a result, ordinary people can still bleed here, even if these employees don't. We try our best, but none of us are doctors. Jared is a good guy. He didn't deserve this. We are all. I couldn't forget it for several days. None of us really wanted to find the exit, and I didn't even know where we were going to start. Today a 4-wheel drive helicopter flew over the exchange town with a camera. I took this to mean that someone was finally coming for us and that help was on the way. But this doesn't seem to be the first time. The same thing happened a few months ago and everyone is still here. I don't know if it saw us, but even so it didn't stop. It just kept flying out of our sight. Note: judging from the time of diary recovery, this article seems to correspond to our first successful test of sending a drone into SCP-3008-1. Video analysis revealed a walled settlement under a sign labeled, "Returns and Exchanges." Attempts to find the settlement again failed. Other previously sighted drones were of unknown origin. Today at dinner I started chatting with people about what they missed about home. Maybe not the best idea I've ever had, but everyone seemed to welcome it. Many people here have families. Wife, husband, child, dog. Franklin seems to have a pet alpaca. I'm not sure I bought one. But clearly some people here have very strange gaps in their knowledge. 3 people had never heard of the International Space Station, 2 people seemed to think was the Prime Minister, and 1 person seemed to have never heard of the Declaration of Independence. I believe them too. They seemed as confused as we were. At first I thought it was because they came in a different year than me, but it seems they are not much different from me in age. Of course, there are some whose years are very different from mine. Just like old Jack, he said he entered the supermarket when the United States became independent. How old has this supermarket been in existence? And there is also a very strange thing. That is, they enter IKEA from different places, and the place names they mention are all kinds of, but they are completely different from me. Isn't there a lot of IKEA like this in the world? Or is this IKEA building going to move around on its own? But the more I thought about it, the more things started to explain. No one comes to find us missing people because we are not from the same place. This sounds weird, maybe that's the slogan of the place, but could these people be from different dimensions? Reality. Call it whatever you want. I've watched a lot of TV shows so I know some of this. Sarah comes from a place where there is no declaration of independence. Wasim came from a place where no space station had been launched. If everyone is from the same place, even if they appear to be the same place, it could cause a huge panic about missing persons. But there was no massive search. We are probably a small case, just 1 or 2 missing persons in the world every day. All right. Interesting thought exercise. I just realized that yesterday was the 6-month anniversary of my coming here. I don't know if IKEA sells party hats. The daily life here is probably the same. More new people show up, one every few weeks. Food supplies ebb and flow, but we haven't had any major shortages. Occasionally there will be tenants from other nearby towns, usually Checkout Town or Walkway 630 Town. We greeted each other and occasionally traded when there was a special shortage. It's comfortable, in a way. A reminder that we are not alone, some kind of small civilization. Sometimes they bring medical supplies. It seems there is a drugstore a few towns over from Checkout that restocks every now and then, so they share what they can. I've never heard of an IKEA pharmacy, but it wouldn't be surprising if someone discovered the IKEA organ harvesting lab at this point. Can explain where employees are coming from. Speaking of our faceless jailers, their attacks have become more frequent recently. Now 3 or 4 times a week, twice as many as before. It's unknown where they come from and why the attacks are getting worse. A few weeks ago we wanted to track them during the day, Sarah and I. Wanted to see if he could take us to the staff room or something. But it didn't go anywhere, just randomly wandering down the aisles. We can only return in vain. We fortified our walls and wanted to better arm ourselves. There is definitely no shortage of materials. Wasim made more crossbows, but it was still too inefficient. It's too bad IKEA doesn't. Note: no new personnel entered IKEA during the time period of this diary. The attack is now very serious. They come almost every night, and there are so many employees that the corpses are piled so high that others can crawl into the walls. I think we're in big trouble. Exchange Town has been, alas. I think Exchange Town is finished. We got a good beating last night. There were not many casualties, but the wall was damaged. We finally figured out why the attacks were escalating. There's a bunch of employee pieces stuck in a box of supplies. Not sure how this happened, but apparently this piece attracted them as much as the whole body. But it was too late anyway, there were too many bodies to move and the wall to be built before nightfall. Candace has called a meeting. I suspect there will be talk of abandoning Exchange Town and maybe trying to find refuge in Checkout Town. But it was too late. I feel like we ran out of time to do that. Maybe one of us can do it. After all, I was fine in the dark my first week here. But after that, how long can I be lucky? I was just writing it as some kind of closure, I guess. For me, or anyone who finds this. This is the last diary entry. I hope whoever reads it can escape from this place. What am I most afraid of? I'm afraid of dying tonight and waking up here in the morning. Note: this is the last diary entry. It is speculated that while trying to reach the checkout settlement, he was chased by an individual employee and became separated from the others, arriving at the exit. The diary ends here. Based on this diary, the shelter learned more about IKEA. The problems here are beyond everyone's imagination. Maybe this IKEA supermarket has existed for many years and will randomly appear in different places. Or maybe it actually exists in many stores, but no one has discovered it. But it is unknown whether it will appear in different universes and connect people from different universes together. I don't know how many people are alive in this supermarket, what kind of civilization has been formed, what is the origin of the monster, and why is it an infinite space. I'm afraid no one can know. What the shelter can do is to acquire the area near this supermarket and prevent anyone from approaching. If someone comes out, ask all questions and clear the memory, and find a way to keep him alive. If an employee runs out, he must kill immediately. Our research at IKEA has not stopped yet. The video ends abruptly here. Everyone looked dumbfounded. Strange. How is this possible? This supermarket can actually connect people from different universes. It's impossible. Tony Stark. But if that's not the case, how can we explain that some people don't know about the International Space Station, the Apollo moon landing, who is the president, etc.? According to the description, they are not that kind of old people. Jiraiya. It looks so big, but it's just a supermarket, why is it so weird? Odin. I'm afraid this is the product of some god. It is impossible for human beings to make such a thing. When Odin said this, he couldn't help but take a breath. Being able to connect people in different universes is something that only an evil god at the multiverse level can do. But why should we build such a supermarket? Usopp. The people trapped inside are really pitiful. I hope they can escape one day. Bruce Wayne. I think if they did come out it might cause a lot of trouble. Usopp. Huh. Seeing Bruce Wayne say this, everyone else was confused. Bruce Wayne. Think about how long the people trapped inside have been out of touch with the outside world. Moreover, they come from different universes, and their knowledge level is completely different. If they return to the real world, can they still live normally? Tony Stark. Yes, they live almost a primitive life there. If they suddenly return to modern society, they may not be able to keep up in all aspects, leading to all kinds of troubles. Warring states. That's true, but even so, it's impossible not to let them out. You can teach them well and then deal with it. Bruce Wayne. That's true. Nick Fury. But why don't all the people in the supermarket unite together? If so many people work together, there must be a way to live longer and avoid the destruction of the survival base, right? Natasha. Maybe it's because I can't bear to part with the foundation I built, or maybe there's not such a big place to accommodate so many people. Barton. How could it not be such a big place? Maybe it's because they are far apart and moving is particularly troublesome. Loki. I think it's human beings' short-sightedness. People who find it troublesome or selfish or unwilling to gather together. If there is someone to lead them, they will definitely be able to bring everyone in the supermarket together. Tony Stark. This god who sounds a bit stinky, couldn't the person you're talking about be yourself? Are you going to be their savior? Loki. Human. Why are you talking about me? What's more, I am a god. What's wrong with being the savior of mankind? With my intelligence, I can definitely lead them to survive and leave the supermarket. Tony Stark. Oh, really? Then remember to wait for the IKEA supermarket and go in and take a look when it shows up over there. Loki. Haha, I'm not going. Why should I lead a group of people who look like natives? What can I do if I come out? Everyone couldn't help but roll their eyes when they saw Loki's polarity reversed. Garp. Are you a child? You look the same every now and then. Loki. Human. Watch your words. Feng Yuan. What are you talking about? What does this unlimited supermarket mean? At this time, Feng Yuan and Zuxing cluster, which had not been bubbling for a while, appeared. Naruto. Brother Feng Yuan, you are back. How is the stairwell? Feng Yuan. It's a bit troublesome. One team member still died. The only good thing is that the other one was successfully rescued. And after that monster killed the spaceman, it met me. My strength is superior to it, but no matter how I destroy it, even if it explodes into pieces, it will appear again, which is very troublesome. Quote. Diana. With your ability, can't you destroy that space? Feng Yuan. I tried it, but it didn't work at all. Leo's world. Feng Yuan turned back into human form and carried his teammates out. He looked at the dark stairwell behind him. The monster stared at Feng Yuan in the stairwell, then turned around and walked down, seemingly unable to come out. Just now, Feng Yuan turned into Leo, and after leading his teammates out, he used L-77 light to attack the stairwell. Although there was a terrifying explosion, the stairwell remained motionless, with no cracks at all. It was impossible to destroy it at all. It seems that what we see is just the surface of the stairwell, and there are more secrets hidden in it. Zhu Xingtuan came over and said, Captain, how's the monster doing? Feng Yuan immediately asked about the monster. Destroyed by Gunterras. Zhu Hoshiden pointed outside and said. Now lying next to it was the corpse of a monster with a broken body. There were traces of gunpowder all over, which was exactly the effect of Gunterra's bombing. Facing Gunterra's power, ordinary monsters have no ability to resist. According to the calculations of the stars, I am afraid that only high-level Earth monsters like Gamora, super beasts and the like can resist Gunterras. Then Captain, what should we do with this stairwell? Even Leo's power cannot destroy it. When Feng Yuan said this, he couldn't help but feel fear in his heart. What on earth is this? Is it some kind of prank by a terrifying entity? Leo's L-77 light was enough to flatten a city, but it couldn't affect an ordinary-looking stairwell. This made Feng Yuan think that he didn't dare to step in. How could I be so cowardly? When he thought of this, Feng Yuan couldn't help but slapped his face in frustration, feeling that he was so unsatisfactory. Zhu Xingtuan did not notice Feng Yuan's emotions, but released ultra-psychic power to control the surrounding gravel to block the stairwell door. No matter what, we have to block this place and prevent anyone from getting close. Fortunately, the monster inside will not come out. After the stars finished speaking, they immediately released their ultra-psychic power, controlled the surrounding stones, and blocked the entrance to the stairwell and even the platform inside. In this way, most people would not approach casually when they saw this situation. I have contacted my superiors to blockade this place. As for the reason, you have to work with me to find a way to fool me into it. Zhu Xingdan said this and rubbed his head. How to get the people above to agree to his request was very difficult. Congratulations to the star cluster for successfully containing the stairwell. Reward for repairing ultra glasses. Just then the electronic sound sounded. When the electronic sound on the screen sounded, Zhu Xingtuan felt something change in his chest. So he immediately took out his ultra glasses, and they were actually intact. You must know that his ultra glasses were damaged because of his serious injury. In this way, the star clusters can become severed again. It's my feat. Zhu Xingtuan looked at his broken leg. His leg had not recovered yet, so even if he became severed, it would be very disadvantageous. Forget it, I have other ways to fight. Zhu Xingdan immediately comforted himself. When other people on the screen learned about the rewards from the star clusters, they were a little confused. Roads. Repairing ultra glasses, what do you mean? What is that? Bruce Wayne. Ultra glasses, do they have anything to do with Ultraman? Are you also Ultraman in the star cluster? Zhu Xingtuan. Now that things have happened, it doesn't matter if I tell you. I am indeed Ultraman, not from Earth. My real name is Ultraman 7. The exposure of ultra glasses, Zhu Hoshiden believed that it could not be kept secret for long, so they simply made it public. Tony Stark. You are a cosmic person too. Nick Fury. What a joke. You are the leader of an organization that protects the Earth, but you are actually an alien. Not just Nick Fury, but everyone else was shocked. It's strange no matter how you think about it, that the leader of the team that protects the Earth would be an alien. Zhu Xingtuan. I don't care what you think, I can only tell you that my love for the Earth is not inferior to that of any Earthling, so I have no selfish motives. Feng Yuan. I can guarantee this. Even people from the universe like the Earth very much. Luffy. Although I don't understand it, it feels cool. This way you can transform into monsters together and fight monsters. It's so cool just thinking about it. Naruto. Yeah. That must be very handsome. Warring states. Are you fools? The important thing is whether you are handsome or not. Luffy. Why are you anxious? Didn't Zuhoshiden say it's okay? Just believe him. Luffy. I feel that Morohoshiden is a good person and can be trusted. Naruto. I think so too. Diana. Are you children? Ah, Naruto is indeed a child, but how can you believe that Luffy is a pirate? Luffy. Hey, I won't lie to you. Akainu. HMPH, the pirate's words are not worthy of belief at all. Sun Wukong. Is it strange that aliens protect the Earth? I am an alien too, and I have Piccolo. Piccolo. I'm not protecting the Earth. Sooner or later I will get the Earth. Sun Wukong. Oh, I said that again. Natasha. I can only say that not everyone in the universe is trustworthy. In Marvel's Shield, Nick Fury had a gloomy look on his face. If aliens appeared among his subordinates, he would definitely have to be very vigilant, let alone hand over power. This involves the protection of the Earth. How can we let an alien take the lead? It seems that the upper-level personnel of that universe have not noticed this. If he were in that universe, he would definitely place various agents to monitor the stars and Feng Yuan. What a mess. Hey, wait a minute, there are aliens in our universe. The god of thunder has also appeared, as well as the Stroas from the past. So how many cosmic people are there on our planet now? Nick Fury couldn't help but squint his eyes and think about so many questions, feeling that he still had a lot to do. In the DC universe, Bruce Wayne looked helplessly at Naruto and Luffy's speeches. How could he say such stupid speeches? Either you are strong enough to protect yourself after speaking, or you are really stupid, or you are both. Leo Universe. Zhu Xingtuan doesn't care at all about what people in other universes think. Anyway, they are not in the same universe as him, so their thoughts are nothing. Zhu Hoshiden then looked at the blocked stairwell behind him. As long as this thing didn't get close, it would be fine. It was quite easy to deal with. But the IKEA supermarket that was playing on the screen made him very concerned. It was an infinite space, and he didn't know where it would appear. Now predict the universe where IKEA supermarkets will emerge. The next second the electronic sound sounded a prediction, and everyone looked at the screen nervously waiting for the result. The universes that will appear are DC Universe Gotham City, Doraemon World Universe and Naruto Universe. The electronic sound predicted the universe that would appear, and there were actually 3 of them. Tony Stark. What? There are actually 3 universes this time. Bruce Wayne. My universe will also appear. Is it really the same as the diary in the previous video? This IKEA supermarket will appear in a different universe. Jiraiya. Haha, isn't that interesting? Tsunade. Jiraiya, what are you talking about? Jiraiya. The rewards the Star Clans received just now were just for blocking the entrance to the stairwell. That means that if we block the IKEA supermarket and don't let anyone get close, we can get the reward without spending any effort. Isn't it very simple? Naruto. Yeah. You're so smart, lustful sage. Jiraiya. Why am I so smart? I'm already very smart. Doraemon. That makes sense. Warring States. Why are you so lucky? The Navy headquarters in the pirate world couldn't help but feel jealous. Why can there be such easy to contain objects in other universes? This is a great opportunity to get rewards and improve your strength for free. Why don't their naval headquarters have such luck? Nick Fury also thinks so. He wished that his side would be as strong as possible. Watching others get rewards in vain would be more uncomfortable than losing the rewards himself. Hey, wait a minute, he himself doesn't have any rewards, so that's even more uncomfortable. Jiraiya. Hee, I'm sorry, it seems we have to go ahead of you. The locations announced now are Gotham City in the DC universe, Mangtaiyuan City in the Doraemon world, and Sand Ninja Village in the Naruto world. After hearing what was announced on the screen, both Bruce Wayne and Doraemon breathed a sigh of relief. They happened to be very close to them. On the contrary, the expressions of Jiraiya, Tsunade and Naruto became quite uneasy. Not on their side of Konoha Ninja Village. Naruto. Are you kidding me? Why is your appearance so close and ours so far away? Tsunade. I mean, you guys are so lucky. Doraemon. We can't control this kind of thing. Bruce Wayne. That's not the point. It's the Ninja Village. I don't know what's going on in this mall. Isn't something going to happen? Tsunade. If it's just those so-called employees who can't threaten Suna Ninja Village, there may be large-scale disappearances. If not, I have to go to Suna Ninja Village and tell them about it. Orochimaru. Haha, it sounds so nice, but it's just for the reward. Tsunade. I want you to mind your own business. Shizune. But Tsunade-sama, what should we do with the affairs in the village? As Hokage, you can't just leave. Jiraiya. Then leave it to me. I'll be outside anyway. Naruto. And me, this kind of good thing can't be exclusive to the lustful immortal. At this moment, the screen image changed, and the locations of IKEA stores in the 3 universes appeared. Well, this is it. When Bruce Wayne saw this, he immediately wanted to take action, but then he saw something unexpected. On the screen, Alfred actually appeared in front of that shopping mall. Huh, why is there an extra shopping mall here? When was it built? Alfred looked at the shopping mall in front of him in confusion, but couldn't find any relevant information in his memory. No matter, since it's newly opened, let's go in and have a look. It's been a long time since I visited a mall. Alfred simply entered the mall on a whim. Not good. Seeing this scene, Bruce's pupils dilated and couldn't help but scream. He remembered giving Alfred a day off today, but he didn't expect that Alfred would appear in front of the IKEA store and go in. Not only Alfred, but also some residents of Gotham City couldn't help but want to go there after seeing the newly opened shopping mall. Bruce took action immediately and quickly took out 2 mobile phones to make calls. Hey, Director Gordon, please help me block off a street. The address is. Bruce Wayne looked at the street displayed on the screen and entrusted Gordon to block it. He immediately aroused confusion on the other side and didn't understand what this playboy wanted to do. Please, if it's an emergency, just think that my mother's jewelry has been dropped and can't be found there. I'm afraid of being trampled to pieces, so please help me seal it off. Director Gordon's expression on the other end of the phone was so wonderful that he didn't even know how to close his mouth. What the hell is this reason? Can a playboy be so willful? Being rich is amazing. Gordon wanted to angrily scold Bruce Wayne for this waste of police resources, but when he thought that most of the funds of the police department were funded by Bruce Wayne, in order not to offend Bruce Wayne and because he sympathized with the orphans, he could only suppress his anger. Okay, I'll help you. I hope you can find the necklace as soon as possible. Then Commissioner Gordon hung up the phone, scolding Bruce Wayne countless times in his mind. Bruce Wayne didn't pay attention and called Lucius. Lucius, can you help me buy a street in the shortest possible time? Why? I want to develop a commercial street. What is there as a commercial street? I feel unhappy and want to overturn the construction. Can you please hurry up? Bruce Wayne was very anxious now and kept urging Lucius to take action. Sir, based on what I know about you, you must have a reason to do this. I hope you can explain it well afterwards. Lucius chose to believe Bruce about arranging this matter. After Bruce Wayne finished his explanation, he looked at the screen, hoping that Gordon would hurry up and reduce the number of victims. When Bruce Wayne was about to set off, he saw something unbelievable. That is, the singing beast climbed onto the wall of IKEA from nowhere, and then climbed into IKEA through the window. Not only one singing beast entered, but several others. Tony Stark. Hey, did I see it wrong? The beast that just ran in was a voice imitation beast. Diana. Bruce Wayne, didn't you kill them all? Bruce Wayne. I didn't want you to know. It seemed that a few cubs escaped at that time. I didn't notice it. When I heard the sound on the screen, I thought they were all wiped out. But I didn't expect that they were hidden everywhere in Gotham City, hunting. Nick Fury. That's strange. Since not all of them have been eliminated, why does this screen say that the containment was successful? Loki. I think I know why. I thought that the mimic beasts that appeared were predicted by the screen, but the children they gave birth to were not in this range. Sanji. Is the distinction so obvious? Isn't it easy to deceive people? Loki. Maybe this is a silly prank on this screen. Bruce Wayne. No matter what, I have to destroy these monsters. But I have to rescue Alfred first. Bruce Wayne immediately picked up the Night Ride card box, pointed it at the mirror, then struck a pose and yelled, "Transform." Knight Rider's suit was instantly put on Bruce Wayne's body, and Kamen Rider Knight Rider's transformation was completed. The dark-winged bat sets out. Bruce Wayne looked at the dark-winged bat that was eating raw meat and shouted. The dark-winged bat just finished eating and immediately flew towards Bruce Wayne, letting him ride up and enter the mirror world. At the same time, in the Doraemon universe, some people appeared in front of the IKEA store. Those people looked at it curiously, not knowing when they appeared. When did a new shopping mall appear here? Shizuka said with a puzzled look on her face. Young husband. That's right. It's very close to my home. I didn't even know it. Whatever, let's go in and take a look. The newly opened shopping malls have discounts. If we buy food cheaply later, we can still have pocket money left. Fat Tiger didn't care about this kind of thing and ran directly towards the IKEA store. Fat Tiger, wait for me. Shizuka thought it made sense and just chased after him. Really? I have so much pocket money, why should I save it? But it's still a lot if I can have more, and it's close to home. The husband immediately followed. Doraemon. Hey. Why did they get in too? Oops. Nobita, get up quickly. Something happened. Nobita. Z. Doraemon. Why are you still sleeping? You're so lazy when you see I'm not at home. Forget it, I'll go by myself. After Doraemon finished speaking, he immediately took out any door, opened the door, and appeared directly in front of the IKEA store. At this time, a large number of people were about to enter the IKEA store. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This shopping mall has not been completed yet, please don't go there. Doraemon shouted quickly, his hands not idle. He took out a frog music box and played music, making the group want to go home immediately. Seeing that no one came closer, Doraemon breathed a sigh of relief. Tony Stark. Hey. What prop are you using? Doraemon. This is a homecoming music box. As long as you hear its music, you will want to go home. Tony Stark. It's not this, it's that door. Why did you appear here as soon as you opened the door? Is it a space mobile device? Doraemon. The random gate is indeed a space mobile device. As long as it is within 10 light years of the center of the Earth, you can go anywhere, whether in the universe or under the sea. After seeing Doraemon's introduction, everyone was shocked that there was such a convenient mobile tool. The most shocked among them were the wizards of Asgard and Karma-Taj. Karma-Taj. This is very similar to our portal. Strange cried out in surprise. I thought that portal magic was something special and incomparable, but any door can easily copy its function, and it is very simple. Could it be that science can develop beyond magic? Modu and Wong on the side didn't look very good. The appearance of this arbitrary door seemed to say that the teleportation magic they had practiced so hard was very stupid. There is no need to be so pessimistic. Just carrying any door is a problem, but the teleportation array can be easily created. Just then Ji Yuyi appeared to calm Modu and Wang's emotions. Master Ancient One. Everyone bowed after seeing Ji Yuyi. After hearing her words, everyone felt relieved and felt that it made sense. It is true that items are easy to throw away and difficult to carry, but the magic that can be cast easily is different. Just thinking about it makes me feel more balanced. Master Ji Yuyi, how was the outcome of your retreat? Modu asked curiously. He knew that Ji Yuyi was in retreat to negotiate terms with Emperor Weishan and the others. They will reduce the side effects of using their magic. The prerequisite is that we give them part of Karma-Taj's magical energy. Of course, I haven't agreed yet. Ji Yuyi said with a smile. How could such a huge amount of magical energy be divided so easily? How could it be done so easily when all kinds of demons would come to interfere in the future? Then Ji Yuyi looked at the screen. She was curious about Doraemon's props when she came out of seclusion this time. It was indeed worth it. Asgard. Odin's face was not very good. They had a device like the Rainbow Bridge for space teleportation. I originally thought that their Rainbow Bridge was advanced enough, but this arbitrary door is simply beating them up. This is much more convenient than the Rainbow Bridge. Human science can actually be so terrifying. Odin couldn't help but take a breath. He always thought that although Asgard didn't pay much attention to technology, it was definitely ahead of the people on Earth. However, Doraemon's science was beating Asgard in all aspects. Odin couldn't breathe. The only good thing is that any gate cannot destroy the planet like the Rainbow Bridge. Wait a minute, black technology like the random door is already available, but isn't there a star-destroying weapon in Doraemon's world? This time Odin had to worry again and looked at the screen curiously. Shield. Tony Stark couldn't help but wave his fists in excitement. That's great. You can actually develop such a convenient space mobile device. Does this use the theory of wormhole channels? Can you tell me how this is done? Tony Stark was so excited now that he roared loudly, scaring Rhodes next to him so much that he couldn't help but step back. Of course, he also understood why Tony was so excited. This was a black technology. If it appeared in this world, it would definitely cause countless people to fight for it. Just imagine that you can just open the door wherever you want, and it would be very convenient if you were to do a raid. I thought that getting a weapon like Crystal Man missile would be awesome, but I didn't expect that there would be something even more outrageous, which made Rhodes very envious. Doraemon. I don't know how to say this. Anyway, I have more important things to do now. After Doraemon finished speaking, he took out an instrument and 2 paintbrushes. Go to the North Pole. After Doraemon finished speaking, he opened any door and headed to the North Pole. Akio. It's so cold. The climate here made Doraemon extremely cold, and he immediately took out the adaptation lamp. Get used to the light. Doraemon took out the adaptation lamp and illuminated it on himself, instantly adapting to the cold climate of the Arctic. Then he immediately put on the bamboo dragonfly and drew a circle with chalk on this place. Tony Stark. Hey. What was that you took out just now? Why are you not afraid of the cold all of a sudden? No, why are robots afraid of the cold? When Tony Stark saw Doraemon come up with new props, he was as excited as a child seeing a new variety of toys. Doraemon. This is called an adaptive lamp. As long as it is illuminated, it can adapt to any environment, including space, the seabed, and radiation sites. Luffy. It's so powerful. Then if I'm exposed to it, wouldn't it mean that I'm not afraid of the sea anymore? Seeing Luffy's words, Sengoku and the others' eyes lit up. Those with devil fruit abilities are not afraid of anything, but their biggest fear is the sea. As soon as they touch the sea, their power will be weakened countless times. If there is technology to help them become immune to the sea, that would undoubtedly be great. This is a good thing. It would be best if our navy could get it. Akainu shouted with excitement. But it's impossible, it's not the same universe. The adaptation lamp made Kizaru very envious, even though he was always lazy, he had to get interested. Red Sea Disk. At this time Akainu spoke. The Red Sea Disks in different universes all go to the same world. If we steal the Red Sea Disk from the Straw Hats and enter that universe, we can let Doraemon come to us and we will have a chance to get the adaptation lamp. As soon as he said this, Akainu immediately felt hot and became more determined to destroy the Straw Hats. Then what about the unclean ones and the so-called evil god? Kizaru reminds Akainu the most important thing: there are terrible unclean people in the Red Sea world, and there are evil gods in that position. Akainu's expression darkened after hearing this. He almost ignored this, but it doesn't matter. We'll talk about it later when we get the Red Sea Disk. It's not just Akainu who has the same idea, Luffy does too. Awesome. Why don't we go to the Red Sea world to find Doraemon? In this case, we can get an adaptive lamp, and I won't be afraid of the sea. Luffy shouted excitedly, immediately alerting everyone. Idiot. Aren't you afraid of something happening? There are terrible monsters in there. Nami was the first to object and even slapped Luffy. Nothing but. Another person who had the same idea was Sun Wukong. Although Sun Wukong is powerful, he cannot move freely in the universe. If there is an adaptive lamp, this problem can be solved. Sun Wukong looked at the Red Sea Disk hidden in his chest and thought about whether to contact Doraemon. Forget it, let's wait until Doraemon handles the IKEA store. Speaking of which, since getting the Red Sea Disk, Sun Wukong often drags others into the Red Sea world to find unclean people to practice. There is no better opponent to practice against than the unclean one. As for the terrifying evil god in the Red Sea world, Sun Wukong has not yet encountered it. Anyway, as long as his strength increases, there will always be a way to deal with it. While everyone was arguing, Doraemon had already finished drawing a large circle, then quickly returned to the IKEA store and drew a circle around the store. Rhodes, what are you doing? Why are you graffiti? Tony Stark. Rhodes, be quiet, this must be some special scientific prop. Frankie. I really want to know what will happen. Everyone is looking forward to what Doraemon will do and waiting for him to finish painting. After a while, Doraemon drew a circle around IKEA, and then immediately flew to the North Pole to start the machine. An incredible scene occurred in the next second, that is, the IKEA store disappeared in an instant and then appeared in the North Pole. In the Arctic, a large piece of ice appeared on the original vacant land of the IKEA store. Doraemon, hoo-hoo, this way you won't be afraid of anyone coming in. Tony Stark, space movement. You actually made the entire mall move through space. Doraemon, this is space exchange. I use it to replace the space chalk. It can exchange the positions of two places circled by chalk. After listening to Doraemon's explanation, everyone was shocked again. They could actually use space to such an extent. This technology is so incredible. Leo Universe. Zuhoshiden looked at the screen in shock. He thought that their Kingdom of Light technology would be among the best, if not the best in the universe, but it was nothing compared to Doraemon's technology. I don't know if there is anything like a plasma spark tower in their world. Are these humans from another universe? It's too scary. There's no need for Ultraman to protect the Earth. Feng Yuan couldn't help but sigh. In the Marvel world, Tony Stark jumped up and down excitedly. I really want to see Doraemon now. This technology is so amazing. Tony Stark immediately thought of the Red Sea Disk in Asgard, which was the only way to see Doraemon. But he doesn't know how to get to Asgard. Wait a minute, isn't Thor coming to Earth? Maybe he can ask him for help. Although Thor had said before that he was currently in conflict with Odin and was exiled, they were father and son after all and could not always be enemies. Thinking of this, Tony couldn't help but think about the situation between himself and his father. He now understood Howard's good intentions and had reconciled with him, but it was a pity that Howard never knew about it. Tony quickly put away his emotions and thought that maybe he should go to Mexico to find Thor. Contact Odin through him so that he can borrow the Red Sea disc. As for unclean people, evil gods, etc., there should be ways to avoid them if you think about it. If that doesn't work, there are weapons like Crystal Man missiles for protection. At this time, Doraemon immediately put away any door placed in the North Pole, and then immediately entered the IKEA store. Congratulations to Doraemon for successfully taking in the IKEA store. Now the reward is distributed, a memetic resistance device. At this moment, the electronic sound on the screen sounded. After the sound ended, a device that looked like headphones appeared in Doraemon's book, and a large amount of information poured out of his mind. At the same time, the explanation voice on the screen sounded. Memes are units of cultural information. All the information people see, hear and receive contains memes. In the universe of contained objects, there are many contained objects with harmful memes. Memes can be used to modify other people's perceptions. For example, you will go crazy if you see him, you will die if you know about him, and you will be controlled even if you just look at him. Therefore, the Memetic Science Department developed a device to resist memetic infringement. When ensuring that you see the other person, not influenced by the other side's harmful memes. After listening to the explanation on the screen, most people knew what it was, but people like Luffy and Naruto who had a hard time reacting couldn't figure it out for a while. Luffy. Ah, what do you mean? Robin. That is to say, when you see something, you may suddenly have a bad reaction, such as fear, physical discomfort, etc., or you may be directly hypnotized. But with this meme-resistant device, you won't have a problem with those things. Luffy. Oh, that's it. Then I sometimes get scared when I see an angry Nami. Is it because of some meme? As long as I have this resistance meme device, I won't be afraid of Nami even if I spend money randomly. Nami. How dare you spend money randomly? Usopp. Luffy, your fear of Nami has gone deep into your bones and cannot be offset. Tsunade. I don't understand what's going on with you, but if there is such a thing, wouldn't it be able to resist genjutsu? Strange. Theoretically, it's possible. Illusion is a memetic attack. Doraemon figured out the function of this device and put it away. He also had a memetic weapon. Things like touching microphones and non-biological hypnotic speakers are all memetic weapons. As for anti-memes, I can't think of any at the moment. In short, multiple good things are a good thing. Okay, now we have to find a way to find Fat Tiger and the others. As soon as Doraemon walked into the mall, he saw an endless walk as far as the eye could see, and there were all kinds of very tall containers all around, which seemed to be connected to the ceiling. So Doraemon simply picked up the bamboo dragonfly and flew up to see if there was a top. However, the strange thing is that no matter how high Doraemon flies, he can't be higher than the surrounding containers. Oh my god, is this really infinite space? Doraemon looked at the containers around him in disbelief, never expecting that it would be so outrageous to experience it in person. Then he curiously took a bag of potato chips from the shelf, opened it, and even took a bite. Hey, it's quite delicious. It seems like the stuff here might be useful. After Doraemon finished speaking, he finished a bag of potato chips in one go and then continued to look for someone. Boom. 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 At this moment, there were heavy footsteps nearby. Doraemon turned his head curiously, and he saw an incredible scene. There was a giant doll with a height of more than 20 meters, striding around in an employee uniform, causing the surrounding ground to constantly shake. Such a huge doll is walking, and just looking at it feels particularly impactful. Ah! Doraemon's face was so frightened that he turned blue. How could there be such a big employee monster here? I didn't say that when the previous screen was playing. The doll seemed to notice that Doraemon stopped, and then slowly turned its head. The face of the doll without facial features was facing Doraemon, and it was not known whether it could really see things. Ooh. What do you want to do? When Doraemon saw the other person looking at him, he was frightened and quickly found props to protect himself. He knew very well that the employee monsters here were very aggressive. But I have never heard of such a big thing. EH. Doraemon looked at this huge employee blankly. He didn't know if the other person had facial features, but he was very sure that this employee must have seen him. What do you want to do? Don't mess around. Doraemon knew from previous videos that the employees here were very aggressive, so he anxiously took out weapons to protect himself. However, this employee didn't seem to care about Doraemon and just walked away. Doraemon, who was searching his pockets, had to look confused. What's going on? Doraemon said doubtfully. Ancient One, it should be because it's not night yet. The employee monster only becomes violent at night. Oh, that's it. Doraemon suddenly realized after hearing this, and then suddenly showed a bad look. He didn't know how day and night were calculated here. It would be troublesome if it turned into night later. If that doesn't work, we have to find Xiaofu and the others as soon as possible, but how can we find them in such a big place? Ah, that's right. Doraemon immediately thought of a way and took out the fetching handbag. Just use the retrieval bag to get the three of their things, and then use scent tracking to find them. After Doraemon finished speaking, he immediately reached into the bag to find something. But he suddenly found that he had reached the bottom and could not pass through the space at all. Hey, how could it be possible? Could it be that? This made Dora dream about very bad things. So I quickly took out any door and opened it immediately, and found that the opposite side was still a shopping mall, and there was no way to connect to other places. No. The space here is blocked, and my space-type props can't be used. When Doraemon said this, his face gradually turned ugly. If he was like this, he couldn't leave here immediately. Oops. You can actually block space, now you're in trouble. Doraemon was anxious all of a sudden. If he couldn't leave immediately through any door, it would be troublesome to find the exit. He just went back the way he came and took a look, but he really couldn't find the entrance he came from. That means he has to be prepared to stay here for a long time. Nobita, I hope nothing happens to you. The first thing Doraemon does is worry about Nobita's condition. Who knows what will happen if he is not with Nobita for a long time. Nobita. Zzz. However, Nobita is still sleeping. Doraemon. Forget it, just fend for yourself. Tony Stark. Space blockade, what kind of mall is this? It's so weird. Ancient One. After all, this is an infinite space, controlled by many laws that we cannot imagine. Carp. I just want to say that I'm confused. This doesn't look like it can be solved by hitting. Strange. Then in a place like this, can the magic of our portal still work? Mordo. I think it's okay. Ji Yuyi looked at the IKEA store on the screen and couldn't help but wonder whether her mirror dimension control magic could still be used normally there. Doraemon. No matter what, let's find a way to find someone. Then Doraemon took out props again. Mini expedition. I saw that Doraemon released many villains, and they would spread out to investigate the place and help him find the husband and the three of them. Please, we must find them. After Doraemon showed them the photos of the three people, he dismissed them, and then he immediately moved in a direction. Along the way, he saw several normal-sized employees, all with no facial features, working numbly, stocking and sorting goods. They looked like a very normal shopping mall. However, looking around, I couldn't see the shelves at the end or the corridor. I couldn't believe that this was normal. Hey, there's also dorayaki. Doraemon passed by a place selling food and saw his favorite dorayaki. Although it was not the right time, he still couldn't help but want to get it. Wait a minute, this is not stealing, right? However, just as he was about to encounter it, he couldn't help but think of this problem. According to the video on the screen, things here seem to be taken casually, but as a well-educated robot, how can it do such a thing casually? Forget it, it's better not to take it. Now is not the time to do such a thing. After Doraemon finished speaking, he immediately flew away and concentrated on finding Xiaohu and the others. However, some people had some thoughts after seeing his move. Marvel's shield. This Doraemon likes dorayaki. If we really meet him, we can trade with dorayaki. Nick Fury said this. Is it that easy? However, Barton felt that this idea was a bit unreliable. Isn't it nonsense that you can exchange top-notch technology with snacks? Who knows, maybe I can try more. At this time, Tony walked into Nick Fury's office as easily as returning to his own home, and Rhodes came with him. Hey, Stark, you can't just walk into my office like you're going home. Nick Fury was speechless. Even bringing friends. God, don't worry about it, don't forget, I'm helping you. Tony Stark said helplessly. By the way, I have roughly researched how to imitate the Jingman rocket launcher, but I need your cooperation, just in case. Tony said. Okay. Nick Fury nodded after hearing this and studied various strange things, and finally got some good news. There is no way to figure out the reason for those contained objects. As for the cosmic Rubik's Cube, there are still things that are difficult to understand. Now, if there are more weapons as terrifying as infectious diseases like the Crystal Man rocket launcher, it would undoubtedly be the best. Choose. Tony, do you really want to help them get such a terrible weapon? Rhodes asked cautiously, feeling that this was a bit unlike Tony's style. There is help, but the technology is exclusive. I believe that few people except me can master this technology immediately. Tony said with confidence. At the same time, he checked his phone and received a message from Xiaojiao. A dorayaki production company has been acquired. One Piece World. Dorayaki. It's a local snack. I haven't made it in a long time. Sanji said as he took a puff from his cigarette. Hey, that's great. With Sanji's cooking skills, he will definitely be able to make very delicious dorayaki. Then he can trade it with Doraemon and get the replica mirror. When Nami said this, her eyes immediately turned into money symbols. With the copying mirror, she can copy as much gold as she wants, and then she won't have to worry about running out of money. Miss Nami, since you recognize my cooking skills so much, I'm so happy. Sanji twisted his body with a heart-filled face, immersed in this happiness. Idiot. Zoro next to him couldn't help but complain when he saw this, and at the same time carefully wiped his Zanpakuto Asura. In the past few days, he had been studying the power of the Zanpakuto and discovered a new area that could take his swordsmanship to the next level. Ah, you dare to say that I am an idiot, are you looking for death? Sanji immediately came up and said with a twisted and angry look on his face. Ah, you are the one seeking death. If you really want to fight, I can test the power of the Zanpakuto on you. Zoro was worried about not being able to find an opponent to test his Zanpakuto. Since this perverted Kappa wanted to come up to him, there was no way he would let him go. Oh haha, so do I. I also want to try the power of my 8-gate Dunjia. Sanji has not been idle these days. He has also been studying the 8 gates Dunjia. Although it is impossible to open the 8 gates, the first 2 gates are no problem. It's enough to greatly increase his combat power. The two people were immediately incompatible with each other, and looked very bad. Usopp and others next to them immediately started making noises heartlessly. At this time in the world of Naruto, Jiraiya is rushing to Suna Ninja Village, hoping to contain the IKEA store as soon as possible. It's just that if I go there like this, will it be considered that I want to start a war? If a war starts then, it will be troublesome. Jiraiya couldn't help but think like this. Congratulations to Orochimaru for successfully containing the IKEA store. Just then an electronic beep sounded on the screen. Hearing this, Jiraiya stopped instantly, and Tsunade and Shizune, who were dealing with various documents in the Hokage building, were instantly confused. Naruto, who was helping with the recovery work on the street, couldn't help but drop what he was holding. Hey! Naruto. What are you doing? It's very dangerous. Inuzuka Kiba, who was working below, was almost hit by something dropped by Naruto, and he almost went berserk and cursed non-stop. However, Naruto ignored Inuzuka Kiba and stared blankly at the screen in front of him. Orochimaru. He was successfully contained. What's going on? At this time, on the screen broadcasting the Sand Ninja Village, Orochimaru was standing in front of the IKEA store, guarded by a group of Javo monsters. Jiraiya. What's going on? Why are you there, Orochimaru? Orochimaru. Oh my, I was discovered after all. I thought I could keep a low profile. Tsunade. Answer us. Orochimaru, when did you run to Suna Ninja Village? Orochimaru. I've always been here, I've been here for a long time. Tsunade. What's your plan? Orochimaru. Of course it's selling the C-virus. Tsunade. What did you say? Orochimaru. Do you think yesterday's attack was only against Konoha? I also specially invited various ninja villages to watch. They are very interested in the power of the C virus and use it as a terrorist attack and to create obedient animals. The subordinates are undoubtedly very interesting. Orochimaru. Just this morning, several people from the ninja village came to me and wanted to buy the C virus at a high price. They were even willing to provide civilians for me to experiment on. Jiraiya. What did you say? How could you do this, you fool? Orochimaru. Hey, you can't blame me for this. I didn't force them to agree to me. They took the initiative to come to me for cooperation. I can't change human greed. Tsunade. Do you think it's okay to say such nonsense? If you don't take out the C virus, how could this happen? You will plunge the entire ninja world into a terrorist crisis. Orochimaru. Haha, wouldn't that be more interesting? Rhodes. Virus. Monster, what is this? It sounds like an old zombie movie. Tony Stark. According to what Orochimaru said, his C virus does this kind of thing. This is indeed an incredible weapon. Just imagine that there is a large-scale zombie chaos within the enemy before the war begins. It will undoubtedly be caught off guard. Quote. Diana. Virus, it's really disgusting. This boring weapon will only kill you. Akainu. Really? I find it very interesting. Carp. Sakazuki, shut up. Now the reward is Orochimaru, the super beast-making machine. When the electronic screen sound ended, a strange-looking machine appeared next to Orochimaru. Huh. Super beast. What is that? This made Orochimaru a little confused. A super beast is a monster that is more powerful than a monster. It does not feel any pain and can only attack continuously. It is the best biological weapon. The super beast-making machine combines ordinary monsters with animals and plants to form a super beast. The screen's voice chimed in, explaining. Zhu Xingtuan. What? You can even get a reward for the super beast manufacturing machine. Nick Fury. The star cluster, do you know what that is? Zhu Xingtan. That is the technological product of the aliens of our universe, the Yabo people, used to mass-produce super beasts that are more powerful than monsters. Our Earth has been attacked many times by the super beasts created by the Yabo people. Quote. Diana. What, this is actually an alien invasion weapon from another universe. Orochimaru. Haha. It's interesting to create a super beast. Is it like the monster that appeared in Leo's universe just now? It seems to be the same as Nine Tails. Tsunade. Don't think so wildly, there are no monsters in our world. After Orochimaru saw Tsunade's comment, he thought for a while. Yes, there are no monsters in Naruto's world. Wait a minute, what if it's an animal mutated by the C virus? Orochimaru's eyes lit up. He not only conducted experiments on humans, but also on animals. It has to be said that the monsters mutated by animals are more terrifying than the zombies mutated by humans. Hehe, it seems to be a very interesting research. This immediately ignited Orochimaru's scientist spirit, and he would have fun again in the future. Hey, Orochimaru, what is that? At this time, several ninjas from Sand Ninja Village came running over. He looked at Orochimaru with a wary expression. Then those Javos immediately ran over to protect Orochimaru. Seeing these monsters with eyes all over their faces, the ninjas of the murderer village couldn't help but take 2 steps back immediately. Lord Orochimaru, the deal has been completed. I gave them 20 C virus syringes. Instead, we will give us 10,000 villagers for experiments and $2 million. Kabuto appeared next to Orochimaru and said. Well, very good. It's a pleasure to cooperate. Let's continue to cooperate in the future. After Orochimaru finished speaking with a sneer, he formed a seal with his hands and his body disappeared. Orochimaru who appeared here was actually just a clone. Goodbye then, let's continue working together next time. After Kabuto finished speaking, he gave the Javos a wink and asked them to pick up the super beast-making machine and leave here quickly with him. Seeing Jiraiya here through the screen, he couldn't help but let out a cry. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru was the biggest winner. In just one day, Orochimaru did so many things with that terrible virus. It is definitely not just the Sand Ninja Village that is trading with him, other ninja villages must also be taking action. In that case, it is really unimaginable what the ninja world will become. Orochimaru. If I had known this, I would have killed him in the first place. This made Jiraiya regret that he had been merciful to Orochimaru in the past. Naruto. Hey, lustful sage, why don't you go to Sand Ninja Village quickly? There is a terrible virus there. If it is leaked, everyone in their village will die. Tsunade. Naruto, don't talk nonsense. If we go there casually, it will easily trigger a war. Sand Ninja Village is not from the same country as us. Nick Fury. Oh, that's it. Different countries in your Naruto world have their own ninja villages. Jiraiya. Most of them are like that. Tony Stark. If it involves politics, you will understand. No matter what happens in the other country, if other countries interfere at will, it will provoke international public opinion and put them at a disadvantage, or start a war at worst. Naruto. What are you talking about? Do you just don't care about anything? Jiraiya. Naruto, I understand your thinking, but we must act with caution. On the abandoned roof of Konoha, Naruto couldn't help clenching his fists as he looked at the miserable ruins around him. Due to the attack by the sea virus monster, the once prosperous Konoha was full of broken walls and ruins. You could even see families crying after the bodies of victims were dug out. Looking at this scene, Naruto couldn't accept that he knew that Sand Ninja Village might become like this, but let it go. Naruto. If you don't want to go, then I'll go. Tsunade. Naruto, what do you want to do? Naruto. Of course it's to eliminate the sea virus. I can't just watch the tragedy happen. Even if they don't come from the same village as me, I don't want it. Tsunade. Idiot. If you do this, you may start a war between the two countries. Naruto. I know, but it's even more impossible for me to worry so much and watch terrible things happen at any time. After Tsunade saw Naruto's words, she knew that Naruto was serious. Now Naruto can mobilize the power of the Nine Tails at any time without being counterattacked. If you insist on going to Sand Ninja Village, you may even be able to massacre the village. Tsunade stood up angrily and wanted to stop Naruto immediately. Jiraiya. Naruto, just stay in the village with peace of mind. I will handle this matter. Tsunade. Jiraiya, what do you want to do? Jiraiya. Same as Naruto, I can't watch that kind of terrible thing appear casually. As for war or something, don't worry. As long as I show absolute strength like the first generation, there will be no people dare to cause war. After Tsunade saw Jiraiya's words, she couldn't help but be stunned. During the Senju Hashirama period, the ninja world was able to maintain long-term peace because Senju Hashirama was so powerful that he could frighten all the ninja villages and prevent them from acting rashly. With the strength that Jiraiya now has from the Six Paths Sage, he is definitely stronger than Senju Hashirama, and he can indeed do the same thing. Tsunade. Even so, but in terms of public opinion. Tony Stark. What is there to worry about? If you are strong enough, do you still need to be afraid of public opinion? You can also control public opinion in turn. Tsunade. What did you say? Tony Stark. Your previous concerns were all based on insufficient strength, but if you face a strong enough strength, even if you slapped someone in the past, no one will dare to say anything, not to mention biochemical terrorist incidents are enough to give you the moral upper hand, so don't be afraid at all. Diana. What you said makes sense. It reflects the United States' demeanor of speaking righteously and its ability to manipulate public opinion after taking away the Indians' habitat. Tony Stark. Are you scolding me? I'm just telling the truth. Thor. Haha, as long as you are strong, don't worry about what others think. They can't beat you anyway. In Mexico, at the home of Jane and others, Thor was sending messages with a smile on his face, which reminded him of the all-powerful days on the battlefield. At that time, he was also criticized by many people, but in the end, it was not because of his strength that everyone had to be convinced. Thor was originally very happy when he recalled his experience, but when he thought that his divine power had been taken away and he was now an ordinary person, he became depressed again. He had discovered yesterday that Thor's hammer had fallen in the desert, and he had gone over to pick it up with confidence. As a result, he couldn't even pick up Mjolnir even though he tried hard to suck it. Not to mention how oppressive he felt. Now Thor is not as heroic as he used to be. He goes to the pub every day to get drunk, or sleeps in Jane's house. If it weren't for the fact that he was an alien and could help Jane and the others with some research, he would have been driven away long ago. Why? This person was very happy just now, but now he looks like he is dying. Daisy, who is working on the computer, asked with a puzzled look on her face after seeing Thor switching quickly. Who knows, maybe he's in a bad mood. Xie Yun next to him replied. He hasn't left yet and is staying here temporarily. Originally, Jane and the others were reluctant. After all, it would be troublesome to raise another Thor. After seeing the rent offered by Xie Yun, they immediately agreed. Xie Yun has become familiar with Daisy these days and chats with her without a word. Sometimes, while Daisy was immersed in her work, he glanced at her sizable pair. So big. This made Xie Yun couldn't help but swallow his saliva. At this time, the discussion continues on the screen. Orochimaru. Using powerlessness to force peace. It's interesting. But so what if you can prevent Suna Ninja Village from using the sea virus? I'm just afraid of you on the surface. You can't control what you do in private. Quote. Jiraiya. Even so, I will do what I should do. Orochimaru. Haha, whatever you want. By the way, let me tell you something interesting. When I went to take him in, someone had already entered that shopping mall. Jiraiya. Who is what? Orochimaru. They are Gaara's 3 brothers and sisters in the Sand Ninja Village. We can really look forward to what will become of them after they enter. Naruto. Hey. Gaara has also gone in. Wait a minute. With his strength, there is no need to worry. Orochimaru. Humph, it's true. I won't talk nonsense to you anymore. I have to study this new toy carefully. Zhu Xingtuan. This is not a toy, it is a machine that creates terrifying monsters. If you abuse it, it will definitely give your world a devastating blow. Orochimaru. Oh, really, that's really interesting. Natasha. It seems that Orochimaru has a problem with his brain. Tsunade. Indeed, he is an out-and-out mad scientist who will do anything for research. Rhodes. Are you so crazy? I thought Tony was crazy enough to stay awake for days and nights just to study. I didn't expect there was someone more powerful than him. Tony Stark. Hey. Rhodes, are you asking for a beating? In S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony Stark couldn't help but pat Rhodes on the head. Oh, please, I'm just praising you. I'm praising you for being more normal than that Orochimaru. Rhodes said, rubbing the back of his head. Why didn't I feel it? Tony rolled his eyes and complained. That's enough, you two should stop flirting. Nick Fury said helplessly, this is a bit noisy. Leo World. Zhu Hoshiden looked at the screen nervously. Unexpectedly, even the Yabo people's super beast-making machine would be regarded as a reward. I don't know what the mad scientist named Orochimaru will do with it. Sigh, I hope people from Naruto world can solve it. Zhu Xingtuan sighed helplessly, cross-universe matters were not something he could interfere with. In the DC universe, Bruce Wayne has arrived near the IKEA store and has gone out of his way to hide in the dark to avoid being discovered. Master Wayne, that street has been purchased by us. You can develop it however you want. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and support our channel.